photo booth. Share your pick on social media and tag @PaulMitchellUS for your chance to win exclusive prizes. All right, DC, and right now we're going to go down to the third member of our broadcast team, Henry Jackson. Henry, down in the corral, what's going on?
That's right, guys. Here I am, the beautiful Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships halfpipe behind me, and we are about to get underway with the semi-finals. Can you taste the excitement? It's palpable here. We've got, as you said, we've got the flags flying. I saw some signs, tear it up J-Dog. Which J-Dog are we talking about? I'm not sure. There we go. We've got all our wonderful fans here, basically here to watch the greatest show on earth, the Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships. And yes, in just a moment, semi-finals will begin. I'm hyped! Are you hyped?
All right, there he is, Henry Jackson, the always entertaining.
Welcome back to Vail, Colorado, day 2 of the U.S. Open of Snowboarding presented by Burton. I'm Louis Vito. I'm standing at the top of the super pipe, and literally the top of the super pipe, giving you guys an inside look from the rider's point of view. And today we have men's halfpipe semifinals. And when I say semifinals, I really mean it's the final before the final. The field is stacked. We have so many young riders coming up, all trying to chase the undefeated Scotty James. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere. Men's superpipe semifinals begins right now.
Welcome to Vail, Colorado, the center of the shred universe right now for the 2019 Burton US Open. It is live in 2019. Fans are fired up for our men's semifinal. You just had a shot of the 600 feet of joy that is our superpipe. Sal Masekela here. We are joined by Maddie Mastro, fresh from semifinals, Tina Dixon, Tom Monterosso. We are fired up for this event. First up, let's talk about the weather. You ladies had pretty nice conditions. Now, light kind of change and a little bit of wind. What do you make from what you can see right now?
The weather's kind of come in with the sun kind of disappearing, maybe giving it a little bit of a flat light. Hard to see the transition and the flat bottom for the boys, but hopefully it kind of has some pockets of sun for them to make it a bit easier today.
Indeed. Well, they know that they have to meet or exceed the levels that the women's field already set. You know, we talk about the U.S. Open. This is the most historic event in all of snowboarding. When you win this event, your name is permanently legendary for snowboarding for years and years to come. And while it is a fun event, it means everything. Just ask someone like Raibu Katayama how much he wants to win the U.S. Open.
I love this competition because I had been dreaming that I stand on the podium at this competition since I was a little kid. So it's my dream. So I love it. And I got second place, and I was happy but a little frustrated. So I want to get first place at the US Open this year.
Maddie, you've been in that same position as a runner-up here. It feels good to be on that podium, but what would the win mean?
Everyone always says it. You're always like the best snowboarder as soon as you win the U.S. Open, and you're really a snowboarder when you win your first title at U.S. Open. So it just means a lot as to be a pipe rider or slope rider just to win that first title at the U.S. Open.
Indeed, and we have a absolutely perfect super pipe. Why don't we take the field through the super pipe Ben Ferguson, I believe we are going on board with.
Yeah, and what a perfect guy to watch ride through this 22-foot tall, 600-foot long monstrosity. I mean, Tina, I'm kind of afraid of heights. I don't even like looking at 22-foot walls, let alone airing out of them.
Oh, no, and if you ever get a chance to go stand on the wall of a half-pipe competition, just stand on the side, absolutely go and do it. Ben really showing us just all the different really styles, switch riding, backside running. I mean, he's so talented, and I never really know what line he's going to throw, someone like him and Danny Davis. But the pipe itself, I mean, Maddie, you just rode that. It's in great condition.
Yeah, it's insane, and Ben makes it look so easy every time you watch him ride, and it's not easy. But the pipe is in great condition, so it makes that even easier.
We have a field of 32 riders in the men's field. They will each get 2 runs, so 64 runs of shred joy about to come at you. And just like in the women's field, this final, making it into the final will not be easy. There will be no time to cruise for any of these riders.
No cruising today. It's a pretty stacked field.
And it's pretty interesting, too, because very similar to both men's and women's slopestyle semifinals, there are a bunch of riders on this list that I'm not super familiar with.
Well, there's some young...
makes it really interesting. It's kind of like anyone's game. You don't know what some of these younger kids are going to come out with.
No, and there's some younger Japanese riders that are going to come up towards the end that have been so dominant this year. Right now, we get started with another Japanese rider who actually came through the junior jam earlier, 12 years old, to kick things started here at the Burton US Open.
Yeah, Kaio Shimasaki. When was your first Open, Maddie?
I did one on the East Coast. I think I was 12, maybe even younger, and it was the best experience.
Now, what's it like being that young and standing atop the U.S. Open halfpipe?
It can be slightly intimidating. You got all these big dogs around you and like all the people you look up to, but it's a pretty great atmosphere they have up there. Big backside air.
Yeah, he does not seem to be too phased. Young Kaio Shimasaki. This kid is sending it. Backside 540 into the inverted front 7.
How is he 12?
And then into the Hawken flip. And then an inverted front 5. He doesn't seem scared at all.
Transition to transition like he's been here 10 times before.
He pieced it together so well.
Well, and there's something about, I mean, you look at the current fleet of Japanese halfpipe pros right now, especially, I mean, the cream of the crop is Ayumu Hirano. It's where they land on the transition that separates them from the rest of the field. From a really young age, I think they really drive it home that you need to land high on that wall, you need to hold your edge, you need to not speed check, and you're going to boost, because these kids are unbelievable coming out of Japan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to drop into a 22-foot wall pipe is extremely intimidating. 12 years old. I mean, if you kind of think about where you were at 12, it just helps put into perspective this kid's talent.
Well, and to see a 12-year-old kid have the wherewithal to grab chicken...
I was just about to say.
You don't see that a lot.
I was like, how are you 12 grabbing chicken salad inverted?
Yeah, chicken salad was my lunch at recess when I was 12. I didn't know that it was a grab.
Another young buck, and one that has sort of had a target on him as a name that we'll see emerging to be a big star in snowboarding, is young Valentino Giuselli. First of all, name alone, that's star power.
Hey, big time.
I'm Valentino Giuselli.
That's a Hollywood name.
Yeah, from Australia, and he likes to fly, this kid.
Yeah, this kid won the junior jam just a couple days ago, and you're about to see why. Gigantic frontside 9. Looks like he landed a little flat there on the transition and lost a little bit of speed, but he's going to pick it up here real quick.
I would say that you could see he was coming in with a lot of hot energy.
Yeah. Maddie, what's that like? You know, your first hit, you land a little low. A lot of people don't realize that even the slightest bobble on one of your hits will compromise your entire run.
Yeah, especially on the first hit, you kind of get like that domino effect from the beginning if you make one mistake at the top, and you just have to think about kind of like that recovery process afterward.
Yeah.
He started to do it there, but just unfortunately on the 7, just couldn't get it.
Is it more of a mental correction from there on, a physical correction, or both?
It's definitely both. You definitely have to mentally like figure out what you physically need to do and correct that and get it going quickly as possible.
Valentino also a ripping surfer. He's whenever I see him, like, mate, when are you going to come down and surf with me today? get after it.
You're like, I don't know if I want to get shown up by a 13-year-old. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'll watch from afar. Next up, from Osaka, Japan, Iko Anai, 21 years of age.
Love the helmet over hood, Steez.
Oh, I like that too. You don't see that very often.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
No, that's very unique. I'm down.
Yeah, that's a new one. I'm from SoCal, and we see lots of weird stuff, but I've never seen that. Steez for days.
Back
this kid.
9 into the front 10. And you see,
Wow, 1260.
front side 12
with the tail snatch all day.
Easy.
I mean, that was the third run that we have seen so far out of 32.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how the judges score this. You know, when we talk about this, how they have to warm up as well. But this was a great run.
Well, it was really, really technical too, and he kept his amplitude. A lot of times when you're doing those bigger spins, you're landing a little farther down the wall because you're trying to go bigger, and you lose a little bit of that amplitude, but it almost seemed like Iko Anai gained amplitude down his run. So a lot of times too, when you do these technical tricks very early on in a semifinal, the judges are put in a little bit of a tricky situation because you can't go out there and score up in the 80s and 90s this early in the competition. So this is really the bar setter that's going to inform the rest of the field where the judges are going to put things.
That was really, I didn't see that coming. That alley 540 as well.
60.8, so a solid one that'll push him up into the top spot for the time.
60.8, that's a good bar for the rest of the field to work off of.
And he's going to have plenty of room to improve.
Incredible run. If that's any indication of how this afternoon is
It's going to be that kind of an afternoon, folks.
Buckle up.
Strap in. As we welcome in now, Ryan Wachtendorfer.
Bib number 105. I was actually, during the little break in between men's and women's, I met his mom. She came up to me and she was putting on the Yak Trax crampons, getting ready to hike right up to the pipe. So she's
done this before.
She's done it before. She knows what she's doing. But yeah, Ryan has been in it for a long time for a 23-year-old kid. He's a really talented rider, and he goes huge on his first hit. The Michael Chuck into the front side double cork 1080. So now back-to-back double cork 10s. Into the inverted front side 9. And the double Michael Chuck. Ryan Wachtendorfer came to play.
What?
So 4 doubles in his run. And he's the 4th rider to drop today.
And if you were wondering why the judges were leaving room after Iko Anai's run, you just saw it as this kid steps up and says, I'm going to give you all of it. Huge melon, backside melon 5 to start, and then 4 double caps.
Yeah,
that was
insane.
Well, and you compare that run to Iko Anai, and they're both equally impressive, but vastly different.
Yeah.
Maddie, this trick he does here at the bottom.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen him throw this much.
I've seen him.
Or it's not that trick.
No, the
front 12.
The front 12.
It's not that one.
He's done it in training. We've seen him do it in training a fair bit, and I think he's been working on it like just at other mountains leading up to this contest for this.
But for a competition, I haven't really seen him throw that, and he combines it with that double Michael Chuck. Keep those hands off.
Yeah, and he also has it switched too, so that'll be exciting.
That is a huge trick. That is a huge score out of 75, 52.1. And that's got to be such a confidence builder, landing a trick that you kind of just fine-tuned in run 1, especially out of 2. Going into run 2, he's feeling great.
Yeah, just putting one run down and getting your feet under you.
Yeah, those hands come off the wall. It's a different situation. Louis, I know you're up there in the tent, and what's the vibe as we're only 4 runs in and people are going out?
There's a lot of energy up here. I mean, you've already seen so many hammer runs just to start, and we're barely into the first run of semifinals. I mean, people are celebrating, and I think a lot of people are just anxious to be riding. They've had a few days of practice, and now it's go time. But everyone's pretty excited watching, and contest runs are just going to keep getting better and better.
Well, how about your boy Matt Ladley? As I just commentated, jinxed him.
That'll happen. You know, Matt's been dealing with some injuries, had taken a couple years off really from competition, but I was staying with him the first few nights here, and he was just excited to get back into it, and I feel like the fire is lit back inside of him. I told him this is his comeback contest.
It's crazy to think that Matt Ladley is like one of the veterans of the field.
Yeah.
Because he's been around forever, but he was little kid version for such a long time. How about this method?
You know, he's also, I believe he won a Junior Jam here years ago, so he's on that list of Junior Jam riders that went on to do bigger and better things.
I mean, is there any better representation of where we're at in pipe riding, where Matt Ladley does his first 2 hits, a 20-foot method into a frontside 12. That's where we've come.
And the fact that he hasn't really ridden much pipe, but that's just what he does. He just goes out there and does what Matt Ladley does. But it's great to see him out there competing, and he's having a great time. A big smile on his face.
Matthew, rugged good looks. Ladley is back in the mix. And this clearly is going to be a party.
I'm excited.
And Taylor Gold is another rider that, you know, he had an injury. It took him a couple years to get back. Saw him in December, and he was boasting out of the half pipe and just seemed to be back on form. He's won this event before. He's won the US Open. His name is up there.
Yep. He seems like he's in a really good headspace right now, too. Like, the pressure isn't getting to him. He's kind of riding for fun right now rather than has that competitive edge, and I think it makes him really dangerous. Starting things off with an alley-oop McTwist into an air to fakie.
And you think about what he and his sister both went through in that 2014-2015 season, that pressure, the marketing of them as a family, being a part of the Olympic team and getting that win here. And it seemed like he had to go through a little bit of recovery from that to be able to ride a bit freer.
Yeah, physically and mentally.
Well, and he also had, coming off that injury, he had a crazy slam at Dew Tour where he kind of like blew out of his binding there, and that was scary. He was totally fine, but
I think he just blew out a binding right here.
He was looking at he was looking at his binding on the fall on that last wall. So we'll take a look at that. This is he just does those so nice. But this is the final trick for him. Frontside double cork 10, and watch the feet.
He just landed a little bit 90 there on his heel edge.
Get that fixed, but
it looks like his binding shifted just a little bit.
I think the back foot did.
We call that disco foot.
Those golds are a little powerful.
We're going to see him bounce back today on his second run. Taylor, you got it. Next run.
Of course, we saw his sister Ariel Gold in the women's semifinal.
And Ariel was riding really well in semifinals.
We'll see her in the final. Next up, from Calgary, Canada, it is Jack Collins.
That's a strong name right there, Jack Collins.
Jack Collins. I'm Jack Collins from Canada.
Got a good ring.
I do stuff in the pipe.
Yeah, up there in Calgary, they got the COP, that super pipe up there. That's where this kid trained. And that was gigantic, that frontside 900. To the frontside 7. Oh, looks like he got a little squirrely coming off the lip there.
Nice little Pop-Tart.
Now you see those die lines. Maddie, how important are those die lines when the light is a little bit flatter?
Yeah, they're so important. It helps you just get your feet, like your vision and your feet all together and connected. Just defines the wall and the pipe, and it's a big help. You'd be so lost without them.
So there's that frontside 900. And backside rodeo right there. This is where things just got, I don't think he was going for a cap 5 right there. I think he wanted more and just got a little chattery coming off the lip of the pipe there.
Yeah, that was it looked like a very strong save. It looked like that top half of the wall met him when he didn't expect it. Jack Collins, favorite place to ride is Lake Louise, if you've ever been there. Cold, but fun.
COP, that mountain is really, really fun.
Jack,
and for now, he will sit in 4th place as we Look forward to our next rider.
See Ben Ferg in the rider's tent tightening up those boots. He's going to be dropping pretty soon. That right there is currently the largest gathering of insanely good competitive halfpipe riders in the world. There's a lot of talent in that room right there.
From Telluride, Colorado, here is Lucas Foster.
Yeah, new member of the U.S. snowboard team. Lucas is a really, really talented kid.
Says that his favorite rider is Danny Davis, who we'll see coming up later on.
I bet you.
A lot of the riders, I was talking to Danny yesterday and I asked him about that and he just says, that means so much to me.
Well, when you're a younger up-and-coming rider, is there a cooler snowboarder alive than Danny Davis?
I don't think you can pick anyone better than Danny.
No.
Got everything you need in a snowboarder. No. Piecing it together. Oh.
That was a double crippler unlike any I've ever seen.
That was.
I can't wait to see the replay on that. That was wild.
That had some real hi-ya in it.
Yeah, Lucas Foster, rookie out here.
Big old back five.
Like that double poke at the top. He was feeling it.
This first run, too, he seems, Maddie, you could probably speak to this. Just those first runs, you kind of get a little really excited, and you can sometimes get overexcited.
Yeah. I call it getting the wiggles out.
Yeah.
You get your wiggles out first run. That was a crazy dub crib.
Oh, right.
That was
on end of his run.
Yeah.
It wasn't even during the trick.
I would have given them the make, which is why I'm not a judge. Halfway across the flap out of make.
Make.
From the drop shop, that's how it is. Yep. More chop down there.
So there's either being judged on amplitude, trick difficulty, and execution. That equals 75% of your score. The other 25% overall impression.
And it's great to be able to see, okay, height, right, execution, difficulty, and then that overall flow score. Maddie, we've talked about it a lot this week. What does it mean for you guys to be able to know that that overall feel and appearance, your style and flow, counts for a quarter of your score?
Yeah, it's great. I love being able to see the breakdown of it and really see what the judges are looking at, seeing, and how they feel about everything. And it's really great as an athlete to have that feedback and kind of clarification from them. I think I love it.
It's such a big part of snowboarding, too. It's just the style aspect of snowboarding. I mean, grabbing your board and styling it out is probably one of the funnest things to do.
Totally.
Here's Jason Woolley from town of Tabernash.
It's been awesome to see him progress over this season. He's really made a lot of improvements in his snowboarding.
Yeah, that is evident. This kid is sending it right now. I actually saw a bunch of fans with some homemade signs for him.
With J-Dog?
Yeah.
With the switch, 720 background.
This is a killer first run for Jason Woolley.
2 hands on the nose, Nelson.
There it is.
J-Dog. Fired up J-Dog.
Nice work, Jason.
That's got to feel pretty cool when you get down to the bottom and you see homemade signs.
Yeah.
For you. Like, you got a posse.
You got your friends there. You got your family there. Nothing better than that.
So starting out with the double Michael Chuck, named after famed Canadian halfpipe pro Mike Michalchuk,
who's probably watching right now.
And recent friend of Sal Masakela's.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a long time. I think I told you I got a note from him randomly this week on Instagram, and it was just so cool to see that name pop up.
Wow.
That's just a legend.
Yeah. Yeah, some of my earliest U.S. Open memories were Michalchuk and Terrier just battling it out.
I almost feel like sometimes that racket grab at the end was sick, by the way. I almost feel like we have super pipes because of people like Michalchuk, because you remember he was competing in like 10, 12 foot, 15 foot pipes, and it always looked so, you felt bad for him.
Yeah, he was maxing it out. Like, you could tell he wanted more transition at all times.
That run for Jason Woolley, throwing him up in the third place. J-Dog going to be looking to bring more in that second run. As we come now to Jusnik Lee from Suwon-si, Korea.
And the Koreans love snowboarding. They love it.
Yeah.
We were out there for the Olympics last year, got a couple days to ride, and I've just never seen such enthusiasm. It didn't even matter. You were just, even when you loaded the lift, there was an excitement and waving to you. And
I got a chance to go to the first pro snowboarders delegation to Korea in 1998. We went to a place called Sangwoo. We call it the Washed Up Cup. I'll tell the rest of the story later on. But it was really something, seeing people see snowboarding for the first time ever.
And this right here is the manifestation of that first meeting. Jun-Sik Lee, this kid is putting together a burner right now.
Style on that Michael track.
Woo! Frontside 1260 into the backside air. That was an incredible run.
He's hyped.
From Jun-Sik Lee.
I think he might have even thrown a little indie bonus at the end of that.
Little double.
What's sick style?
That was sick. He had a lot of good style in there.
And he had big tricks. He starts out with this frontside 1080.
And mind you, this kid is 16 years old.
And then the double cork 1080. But what?
This had such good style on it.
Yeah, that had a McTwisty feel to it, more so than a backside rodeo. It's kind of a mix of the tricks.
But a 1260 at the end, grabbing tail.
And then, there you go. Yep. That's how it's done.
Yep, through the Indian at the end, too.
You saw it, Sal.
What a killer. I'm a big fan of yours, young man.
And we were just talking about overall impression, right? That plays into that. Maybe doesn't affect your trick score that much, but the judges see a nice little double grab in there. That's overall impression.
Yeah, the overall impression right there.
We are overly impressed to announce that Jun-Sik Lee is our new leader. 16 years old. How fired up is he?
Little ripper, young gun.
Back up at the start gate.
Oh, that style. Oh, that made me happy. Snowboarding's going to be just fine. T-Bird, Tina, Maddie.
I mean, this U.S. Open, more so than really any other in recent memory, I've been introduced to more young talent at this Open than in the last 5-6 years. It's been really amazing.
Young, really good talent.
And these are the kids you're going to see for the next 5 or 6 years.
From Switzerland, it's Victor Ivanov, 19 years of age.
These Swiss kids love to send it.
And they are really good half-pipe snowboarders over there in Switzerland. They got the national team coach, Giacomo Crotter, former Olympian in Salt Lake City. The Italian stallion. He was my favorite snowboarder.
Best hairdo.
Really long time.
Just hearing you say that just brought back so many memories.
He is
of
just
the hair.
He's the best.
One of the true first rock stars.
Yeah.
He was
is the best. All right, so that'll be a throwaway run for Victor Ivanov. But that is a darn fine-looking method.
Maddie, what'd you see here?
On the frontside dub, it was so big, just kind of lacking that rotation to the toes, getting his body weight over his board. But I think he's got it next run for sure.
Yeah, when you're coming out of those big tricks, do you want to land more flat-based, or do you want to land kind of on an edge?
You want to land like it's flat base to edge as much as possible. If you land on your edge, sweet, you're set up for the next wall.
Right.
But you're probably going to land flat base, set your edge in.
And then just hold it through the bottom.
You want an uphill edge though.
Here's another Swiss rider, Gian Elias Allensbach, 17 years of age. This is a silly question. Are you a pants inside your bindings or out person? Because it's the big debate that no one's talking about.
That is a phenomenal question.
I'm whatever kind of happens, but I've noticed it's an inside the bindings kind of thing because I don't have time. It's just buckle up, don't think about it type of thing.
On powder days, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like if my pant is inside the binding, I don't care. I'm going to strap on.
See, I don't know about you, Tom, but for me it's a steez thing. And the idea of like seeing my pants in my bindings, I'm like, it's just sacrilege. But I'm seeing a lot of rippers running pants inside the binding.
Well, I mean, we do live in a day and age where it's a little more form-fit pants. When I was coming up, it was dub outerwear.
Extra
JP Walker.
large.
Woo! all that stuff.
Unfortunately, Allensbach going down.
Let's hear it for him.
Nice top half of the run. By the way, he was running outside of the bindings.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
That'd be an interesting poll question with the field.
Let us know, folks at home. Stalefish, favorite grab for me.
Oh, hardest grab. For me.
It's one of my favorites. It's a hard one to get to and make it look good.
Backside 9 looked really nice. He landed real high up on that wall. Here's the cab double cork 1080. And yeah, he just landed too hard on that heel edge, unfortunately, and washed it out. But he's going to have another run. You will see him again.
Next run.
And we'll take this opportunity to check in with the Tiny Dancer, Louis Vito. What's going on up there, bud?
I'm just hanging out up here talking with all the riders. We're having a good time.
What are you hearing?
Well, to be honest with you, everyone's just pretty stoked on these runs because it's a semifinal, but like we've been calling it all day, it's Final A pretty much. And I'm excited to watch this young rider drop in, Kaishu Hirano, the youngest of the 3 Hirano brothers. And I'll tell you one thing, this kid loves to snowboard.
Well, if he rides like Ayumu, which it looks like he does.
Huge frontside 1080 right into the cab 1080. Just getting it around right there. I mean, I was riding with him earlier this season in Cobber Mountain, and I think if he could snowboard 365 days out of the year, he would. And if he's not snowboarding, he's skateboarding and putting down a hammer. You can hear everybody up here clapping for that one.
Wow. Well, he's like, listen, my brother won this thing last year. He's on his skateboard this year, so I'm going to represent for the family, and you might have to understand that I might be able to win this thing.
Look at the size of that backside 540 to get things started here.
Speechless.
And he rides like Ayumu, who kind of has that low
really
stance
does.
like Ayumu.
Maddie, I see you're just gobsmacked right now.
That was insane. I was not expecting that at all. And he lands so high on the transitions, it's insane.
Yeah,
something in the DNA.
I want some of that. Whatever they got, I want.
No kidding.
Getting lots of love for the height. Judges looking for a little more in execution. I think that flow score will be decent.
And really, when it comes down to half-pipe riding, it's all about amplitude.
Yeah.
If you're a diehard snowboard fan or you've never been snowboarding, that is the international language. Height.
Go big or go home. Well, we've said it already. Danny Davis is your favorite snowboarder's favorite snowboarder. Just ask Scotty James.
We got Mr. Danny Davis dropping in for his first 2 runs.
You know, I really admired people like Danny Davis. I loved people like Gigi Ruff, and if you really believe in what you're doing that much, like those guys did, then you can be successful. Like Danny's done that. And it's always, I feel, it's been kind of the reason why he's been able to love snowboarding so long, because he's hasn't been influenced by stuff that he didn't want to do.
Danny Davis, style master extraordinaire with a huge backside 360 to start things off here. But also someone who continues to fight for the riders.
Exactly.
For snowboarding as a whole.
Totally.
He doesn't compromise his ideology for his profession.
And does not compromise the style sauce.
I think he's a great role model for just snowboard kids all around to have style and still be so successful with what you're doing.
Yeah, he's inadvertently transitioned through his riding and his ideology into an ambassador for snowboarding.
Yeah.
He's a professional snowboarder, but he's the guy that we want speaking for us.
How's his back 3?
Oh,
So huge.
Well, in his switch riding, I was talking to him yesterday, and I'm like, if you piece together your run, and he's like, you know, that's kind of the fun aspect for me, is sometimes I go down there and I do what I feel like doing at that moment, you know, during that day.
What's feeling good and right.
he's got a spontaneity to him that is really fun to watch.
And you got to remember, too, like, he's been filming a lot of this season. He's been riding a lot of powder. Tahoe has had an amazing season where he lives. Look at that McTwist. Just styles it out. So he hasn't had a ton of time in the half pipe leading up to this, and
I mean, Danny's the type of rider that competes in a U.S. Open pipe run and then goes on an alpinist expedition in Bolivia. That says it all.
Yeah.
You don't do that? That's not what you're doing after this?
It's so cool to watch. So cool.
And we have ourselves a new leader. Protect the mustache and the beard.
That is awesome.
But I just, watching him grow up and seeing him decide to take the reins and be that outspoken person who's always going to make sure that snowboarding is protected and it comes from the riders first while still being the funnest guy in the room, it's pretty special.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, he walked into the room. We were doing some interviews yesterday, and I mean, it was just the different. Hey, let's talk about, how's the powder riding been this year? How's the filming been? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about the pipe, too.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great vibe and energy that was brought to the room.
All right, Maddie from
Joshy.
Mammoth Lakes in the
Josh
house.
Bowman.
What do you say?
Grew up riding with this boy. I love him so much.
Yeah, tell us a little
Can't
something about Josh Bowman.
Failed to make me laugh. He's a solid snowboarder. Like, he's got the most insane frontside spins. You'll see. Just watch out for his frontside spins. So stoked to have Josh here at the US Open.
So Josh Bowman dropping in for his first of 2 runs. Ooh. Sent that one a little bit flat. It looked like he was going front 14
I think he just got a little bit lost in it. Maybe just got a little bit too cork in it, if that makes sense. Too cork.
It did look like he went a little...
Yeah.
Popped out a little too much.
I hope he's okay.
You see the ski patrol medical staff right behind him. They will check in on him regardless of how he's looking. We'll see this in the replay. He landed low, and his body was pretty opened up.
But it's nice to see him that he's riding down on his own power. And
He's definitely one of the toughest kids I know. He can take a slam and get right back up and take another run.
And as competitive as everybody is, you just don't want to see someone take a slam like that.
I've never seen him drop his shoulder in like that. I think maybe he just got lost in the rotation and just dropped it a little too soon. Looking like he's okay.
Make sure we're all good. All right, he is up and out. You all right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm good.
all right, there you go.
There you go.
Right.
He told us. What does that mindset do to you?
It depends on the person, and you need to be able to handle it, shake it off, and be like, I know what I'm doing, and just muscle memory it kind of over again and go right back into it. Forget about it, move forward. Hopefully he's able to do that next run.
All right, from Bend, Oregon, another person that would be classified as one of your favorite snowboarder, Ben Ferguson. Joyfully unpredictable.
Love watching Ben. Probably one of my favorite runs to watch.
Big old air to fakie right there into the cab. Double cork 1080. Landed a little low, but Ben has some of the best edge control in the game. Right into the double crippler. And backside 3. Ooh, switch McTwist like it was nothing. And then the switch alley-oop double back rodeo. Unfortunately, not quite able
I can't even believe
to ride out.
I can't believe he even tried that on last wall. He was going like 3 miles an hour.
Still somehow made it happen.
And Ben's like, I'm not going to wait for the score to come in. I'm getting back up there.
Got turns to make.
He does such great switch riding throughout his run. Here's the cab, double cork, 1080. And Ben's another one of the riders who this year, he's only done, including this contest, 3 pipe contests.
Yeah, he's focusing on filming for joy.
Yeah. He's been in Jackson Hole a lot of the season filming. Really good, I think balance for him just to get out there and do some free riding, so hasn't been in the pipe a lot.
Yeah, Ben is a really, really talented and well-rounded snowboarder. A lot of the kids that come out of Mount Bachelor, if you've ever ridden there, it's a lot of natural terrain features. And I think it just kind of teaches them how to control their snowboard in any environment. And Ben is a personification of that.
As you get a nice perspective of the now fairly gray skies here at Vail this afternoon. Our leaderboard as such, Danny Davis setting the tone so far. as we are about 17 riders in of our 32-person field. What do you guys think so far?
I'm loving the young guns. I'm loving it. The new blood in the U.S. Open. They are killing it. They're really impressing me.
Well, and we haven't even seen some of the top guys yet. You know, we haven't seen Yuto Tatsuka. He's one of the young Japanese riders that I was talking about earlier. Scotty James still has to come up. Yeah, we've got a lot of big riders.
Well, that's a talking point, too. I mean, Scotty James is undefeated right now.
Oh, yeah, that's
5 for 5. He's 5 for 5.
There's also that. We've been loving the fact that people are communicating with us, watching on Facebook. Louis, you got a question?
I do have a question. I'm gonna make Maddie answer this one because you need to drop some knowledge for Jeremy.
Okay.
He says, what's the deal with all the spinning? Is it worth more points? So drop some knowledge for us.
Okay, with all the spinning. Well, it's how you do the spinning. If you do the spinning looking good, worth more points. If you do it looking meh, I don't know. We're going to have to see what the judges think about it. But if you do it with style on it, you can't really go wrong.
But I think someone like Danny Davis, his run proves that you don't have to be doing a ton of spinning.
Exactly.
Like he adds a lot of style and switch riding with just his McTwists and everything else that he does.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, too, is just creativity, right? It's finding weird trick combos and doing them well like Danny does.
And that's what he does.
Yeah.
Those combinations that you don't normally see.
As a nice full pull for Christoph Lechner from Germany, 18 years of age. And that's one thing I love about the judging format here and about this judging panel. You can spin all you want, but if the execution is not there, if the flow's not there and the style to go to boot, you're going to get held back.
Yeah, I love that about this judging format.
Well, and these judges know what they're talking about. I mean, one of the guys that's sitting in there has won this exact event before. Guillaume Morissette is one of the judges. He took the pipe crown in 2000.
I've seen Guillaume in the half pipe riding.
Still got it.
Still got it.
Still got it.
How was that switch back 5 new grab?
Unreal. Switch backside spins in the pipe are mind melters to me. It just seems like the scariest trick that you can try in a 22-foot half pipe.
I think I'd take a firing squad.
I would too.
Like, I need you to go do something switch backside in the super pipe, or I'll take firing squad.
Oh, come on, Sal.
Christoph Lechner lacking in the height department. And he'll look for more in his second run. What's it like, Maddie, when you have a run that in your mind's eye was like, yeah, I killed that, and then you look up and the judges are like, nah.
It can be a bit frustrating having that happen, and then I think it's time to just like you look at it again and be like, well, I agree with that. It's kind of it's a really frustrating situation to be in when you're like, what you're doing isn't matching what the judges are seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and having the ability to take your ego and put it aside to do what it is that you have to do. From Calgary, Canada, here comes Sean Fair, 17 years of age.
Yeah, this is another name. This is the first time I've had the pleasure to watch Sean Fair drop in, and he is not disappointing. Huge frontside 9 into the double Michael Chuck. And then the frontside double cork 10. He is linking together some ridiculous combos. Cab double cork 10. And then the crippler. Will he sneak in one more hit? Maddie, talk about that. You're at the bottom of your run. You're calculating in your head, can I fit one more in? Do you go for it, or do you?
Yeah, I had one of those on my first run. I was like, this is close.
Because you can ruin everything.
Yeah, it was like, well, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to throw one in. It's kind of thinking on the fly right then. But he put together a really solid run. Stoked to see him land.
Look at how much he traveled on that 900.
And then does the back-to-back double cork 1080s, and it just seems to be so routine and commonplace now.
Must have.
Which is insane to think. Yep.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good score for Sean Fair. That was a really, really technical and big run.
Yeah, overall impression would be, I think it's going to be pretty good.
The flow was also really, really strong. I like his choices at the bottom, too, where he's like, this has gone pretty killer. Let me just put a nice period on this.
Criteria score is going to be a 43.8. We'll add in that overall impression score for Sean Fair, the Canadian. 59.8.
Okay, so he was lacking a little something there with the judges, but he's got one more run to go up and clean it up, I think.
What do you think they were looking for?
That's hard to say because that was a really solid run from start to finish with like these must-have doubles. So it's hard to say. Maybe they're wanting a little more creativity or style in there.
I did see the amplitude bar was a little low.
Okay.
Maybe next run he goes bigger on some of those bottom hits and then boosts his score by 10, 15 points.
That's why you got a second run. You can always improve.
Being pro in 2019, it's tough stuff. Next up, from France, it is Liam Torquay.
19 years old.
This is the color, by the way. Mustard and yellow. Very popular in 2019.
Big fan.
I'm liking it.
I'm sporting it today.
Sheesh. They say mustard is a good color for hot dogging in the pipe.
Here's T-Bird. He will be here all day, folks.
Frontside 1080. That was massive. This kid is gaining amplitude in the pipe and catching the deck right there. And that right there is a pipe rider's worst nightmare.
We just talked about squeaking in that last hit, and that was one of those situations where it was...
I mean, the transition, it changes down there.
Yeah.
It does. Once you get down into that cat paw,
it drops off.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
The chicken salad.
So big.
There's your lunch, Tom.
Second one today.
Getting hungry.
Backside 540. I feel like the backside 5 in the pipe is like the method. Like, you can tell how good someone is at snowboarding by their backside 5. It's such a staple trick.
What happened here?
I think he
just a little early, too?
Little early and was starting to run out of transition.
Yeah.
Well, he is fortunate that that was a board contact to deck first and not body.
Yeah. Got pretty lucky.
I remember reading an interview years and years ago. I forget the writer, but they were asked about, when things go wrong, and they said, I always make sure to put my board down before my body.
Yeah. And you and I were talking about that the other day, though, just a lot of things, just learning how to adjust in the air when things don't go as planned. You have to prepare for that.
You got to think quick. When you're like feeling something going wrong, you got to think to yourself, how can I fix this? How can I save this? How can I be okay out of this?
Yeah.
You definitely just have to, again, think really quick.
Yeah, learning how to land, but also the art of falling is a big part of this sport. Thanks to all of you who have decided to tune in this afternoon, whether it's morning or night, anywhere in the world where you're watching. Please make sure that you hit us up at Red Bull Snow, at Burton Snowboards. The hashtag is Burton US Open. Hit us up, definitely via Facebook on the Red Bull and Burton. Give us some questions. We got Maddie Mastro here. She wants to hear from you.
I want to hear some questions.
She wants to hear some questions.
Know what you guys are thinking.
And if you haven't yet, download the Red Bull TV app. You could be sitting at work right now on your phone, low-key looking like you're working, while your laptop has the business. The party is in your hand. So get familiar. As it is Hwang Ki Lee from Korea.
Backside air into the front 9, into the backside 540. And then the frontside 1080 just squeaking back into the pipe. And the cab double cork 10.
That was a crazy rotation for that.
Holy moly, Hwang Ki Lee ending it with a bang. The rider's tent loves that.
Did you see the way he fell out of the first one?
That was insane.
Unbelievable. So starting things off with that backside air. That was huge, 15 plus feet on that first hit into the front side 9. And then he just works his way up from there. It's almost like the scene out of Anchorman where you're like, wow, that escalated quickly. That just happened. There's that front side 1080.
And he was far from done. He's like, watch this. Look at this.
Yeah, he's like,
Ab double cork 10.
540, 900. No.
And then, just a frontside 1440. I remember the first time I ever saw a 1440 attempt in the half pipe. US Open, Stratton, Vermont, Brad Martin. Remember him?
Yes.
Last hit in the pipe.
I remember that.
So a 74.6.
And ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a new leader, Kwang Ki Lee. Just that combo at the bottom was, the whole thing was mental. And that last two walls, that was crazy.
That's what's incredible about the U.S. Open, too. You look at Kwang Ki Lee's run as opposed to Danny Davis's. Complete opposite runs. They're in 1 and 2. It's awesome.
Chase Blackwell coming in next.
Grew up riding with Chase. Love Chase.
Yeah, Chase is one of those kids that I've seen for a long time now.
Yeah.
He's been in the game for a while. And when things are really clicking for him, he's one of the best pipe riders in the world.
Totally. I agree.
Ooh, well, that was a nice start for him.
Cab 10
So
into the
big.
front side. Double cork 10, unfortunately washing out down there in the flats. I feel like Chase is one of those kids that is going to have that breakout season coming up pretty soon where everything is going to be working for him.
Yeah.
He's going to make a serious run
It's
for it.
going to be insane to watch.
And that happens with riders. I really feel like that's something like Scotty James. He's been in this business a very long time. And then, the last couple years is when it's really started clicking. You put the work in and then it will click.
And that's the key, right? I mean, I don't really remember the last time a pipe rider kind of came out of nowhere and started dominating. You got to put your time in. You got to compete for years and years, and then you just have that one breakout season like Scotty had 2-3 years ago where you're like, okay, this kid, he's the real deal.
It's clicking.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I've got this.
Well, for the member of the U.S. snowboarding team, he will have to rely on that second run for the opportunity to make it into our final 10 riders that will make our final on Saturday. Once again, 32 riders to 10. There's no free pass at the U.S. Open.
That is an insane cut.
I mean, if you said there were 16, you'd be like, that's still hard.
Yeah.
That 10 is like, it's Hunger Games out here. What district are you fighting for? Another Swiss rider, David Hoblitzel.
Yeah, and Dave had his big introduction to the scene right here at the U.S. Open just a couple years ago. He has stood on the podium of the U.S. Open. He's looking to get back up there. Starting things off with a front side 12. Catching his heel edge. Pretty bad there.
Yeah, that was a really, really bad slam. And this is definitely one of those moments where we rely on the fact that we have an incredible medical team that will be attending to him immediately. What happens in a situation like this, where you find yourself sometimes a little lost in the air?
You got to just think, what can I do? And sometimes there's nothing you can do, and just hope that whatever does happen, you know how to fall and you can take the hit. But it's good they've got a lot of good staff on here on scene to help them out with this.
Well, and to be a professional snowboarder, there has to be some assumed risk that you guys know that you're getting into.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into. You know you're going to fall. I hit my head like this last season, and just kind of have to, comes with the territory of snowboarding, that there's going to be falls, you're going to take crashes, you're going to get hurt. It's going to happen.
And what's incredible, too, is the community here. The community is very supportive. Like, if something happens to someone, there's people there that will take care of you right away.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. You're not alone in it.
No, not at all.
Yeah, these are the moments that remind you such the high level of athleticism that we're talking about. We sometimes, when we're going through even our outline of the pipe, and we say, oh wow, 22-foot walls, I wouldn't want to be up there. But you realize that when you execute a trick perfectly, you're 35, 40 feet in the air.
Yeah, you don't realize, although it might look easier, how high the consequences and how hard the slams are, sometimes you just kind of forget about that aspect with like the super pipe here.
Well, yeah, and that's it, right? The level of riding you're seeing is so high, and the riders are so good that every once in a while that reality does hit.
Yeah,
right? These guys and girls are humans.
And it happens to riders. Like Ayumu Hirano 2 years ago had a really bad crash on the first hit in the pipe. He went so big, and then the next year he comes back and he wins.
Yeah. You know, I was talking with some of the organizers of the event at the beginning here, and they talked about how much they've really tried to work to evolve protocol when it comes to athletes taking slams.
Yeah.
And one of the stories that came up was Ayuma's injury, where in that case 2 years ago, he got up and he was kind of on his own power, and they could have made the choice to allow him to be on his own, but there was a doctor who said, no, I saw something. They took a closer look at him. He ended up having some real internal issues with his liver that could have literally been the difference. And so the protocol really is to make sure that we do everything they can to make sure that the riders are seen all the way through, even if they get up on their own power. While we wait to see what is going on with this injury, and Mr. Callister is attended to, we're going to take you back to some of the highlights from earlier from the women's semifinals. A nice look back at the women's semifinal as David Hablitzel is being attended to, the Swiss rider that went down with an injury. An incredible semifinal that you guys had, and we were all wondering during the event, and then when I heard you were coming in, I was like, we're going to have to ask Maddie. Talk to us about your...
Yes.
My namaste. The centering.
Your setup.
It kind of differs every contest. Like this one, it's like, and I'm blowing it away. It's like inhale, blow all the bad juju away or whatever it is, forget about it, and let's go. That's kind of just like just calms my mind and shuts everything else down and just like clears it.
When did you start doing that?
I can't remember when I wasn't doing it.
Really?
I think I've been doing it for...
I was going to say, I'm like,
now.
When you said you do it differently, I've noticed that too, because there's times where you kind of just bring it in.
Yeah, I bring it in. Now it's like the blow away. I don't know. It just kind of, it evolves every season into something different, but I don't remember a season where I wasn't doing the namaste calming of the mind thing.
Is yoga part of your off-hill routine?
It started to come more in play of my off-hill routine because it's just a good way to calm your mind and just really focus and center into your body and feel what's needing to be recovered or whatever it is, strengthened, and it's been coming more and more into my day-to-day thing.
Very cool.
And also, I think, like you were talking to me earlier about just breath work, breathing.
Yeah.
Like in breathing during a competition day and kind of keeping that even.
Yeah. It's become a big part of my thing. Like before I drop, you probably see me doing like 5 or 6 just deep breaths, clearing my mind and just slowing my heart rate down and just being really in the moment and getting focused.
Louis, I know you want to chime in here. Are you up there, bud?
Yeah, I do, Maddie. I want to know how you figured out what works for you. What really does clear your mind? How did you find that process?
It was a lot of trial and error, I'd say. I was a lot of like, maybe this, maybe 5 breaths, 4 breaths. Now it's kind of a don't think, just do, take the breaths and go. It just changes day to day of where I am mentally. It's a lot of trial and error all the time.
I think Louis just hired you as his life coach.
that you passed. That you're hired. That's all I wanted to know. That was an interview.
This was actually an interview for a job.
Okay. I'll take it as a side gig.
Louis, what's the tone like up there as David's been being attended to? How's the mood affected up there in the tent?
You know, of course, everyone hates to see one of their fellow riders go down, but as you guys mentioned, you know, it is a risky sport. It's a calculated risk, so everybody hates to see it, but they understand it's part of it. Everyone's just happy to see him sitting up, and now we're moving on. The energy's building back up, and people are getting hyped for their runs.
That's great. You know, there is that we had the same energy here, where it's like, okay, this is that part that's not fun, and it's no one wants to see anyone not have the ability to do their best with what they have. There's no one who's wishing for any injuries or anything of that sort at an event like this.
I never want anyone to get hurt. You want to win when no one's hurt, riding their best, landing runs. You don't, and I never wish injuries on anyone. It's just so hard to see.
Well, and that comes with progression of any kind, right? There's going to be things that go wrong, but it is a testament to the park builders who are building these jumps and these half pipes. They focus 100% on building them safer. The bigger they are, the safer they try to make it for these guys.
Totally. And this half pipe, it's so good. It helps make it safer for us to do these big tricks and try the new tricks, especially with the guys.
Right.
Yeah, and it's same with the slopestyle courses too. Like everything's so calculated, the takeoffs, the landings, the transitions, the walls. And so it's calculated to a point to where, you can do your edge work and your carving or whatnot and have that be such a big part of your riding versus just going to huck the trick or just do the trick.
Exactly.
And there were times, I've had the privilege of calling these events now for 2 decades, and I do remember the times when, riders would show up to an event and one wall was clearly not reflective of the other. And people would be like, well, that's just something that you'll have to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore. We will get you an update on David Hablitzel. He's being attended to by medical. It's good to hear that there was sights of him at least moving around. We'll get you updates, but we will get back to competition right now with Kent Callister, the Australian rider. And when you've had to sit after an injury like this, how does that affect, if at all, your mindset? What do you have to do to sort of push that out?
You've got to mentally just get into your own zone, forget about everything else, what's going on around you, and just focus on what you're doing, what you can do, and what you know to do. And hopefully Kent is really good at just getting his mind in the right spot.
Yeah, it really is a mental game as much as it is a physical game. I will say the one thing Kent's got going for him right now is the light seems to have improved quite a bit.
He's brought the sun.
Yeah, we got a little pocket of sun here as Kent Callister drops in for his first run.
Beautiful.
That was sick. Cab double cork 1080 right there, coming out of the air to fakie into the double crippler.
Kent, one of those taller riders that, when you've got good style, it looks even better.
Wow.
That was a fantastic run from him.
That was a great run. I love watching Kent land runs. There's nothing I want more than all my friends to land their runs.
It seemed like he took a little bit of extra time at the top to do what you said, Maddie.
Clear your head, get focused.
Take a breath. Breathe.
It's amazing what breathing does for you.
This was a great run. And what I liked about it is he had the cab double cork 1080s up at the top, the back-to-back, and then right into that double crippler. But the last hit I felt was one of the biggest hits that he did the entire run.
Yeah. And the judges do notice that. If you maintain amplitude throughout a full half-pipe run, you will get rewarded for it. I gotta say, the method to fakie
was gorgeous.
Beautiful.
That was awesome.
He's pumped.
What a way to get the contest like back on form.
Back in zone. Judges taking their time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're deliberating right now. They like the amplitude. Look at that bar, 20.
He's jogging off.
Like, I don't even need to see anymore.
Seen enough. 75.
That's what you call a walk-off.
He just
Nice.
walked off right into first place.
On a jog.
It's like, I got to keep this momentum.
Yeah, I can't stop. Gotta just keep moving into second runs. Can't stop, can't stop.
We talk about the mental zone and breath work, etc. Here's Jake Pace on mindset.
It's absolutely crazy. The riding level is through the roof, which is insane, and yet, yeah, the level of just relaxation is crazy because everyone's chilling and just having a good time and no stress, but still just throwing down. So, yeah, it makes it for a cool event.
And on cue, here comes Jake.
Jake is one of my favorite young pipe riders. He goes so big. If you look closely in the flat bottom, he doesn't move a muscle. His edge control is ridiculous.
He is one of the best riders that goes from wall to wall. Setting up for this trick.
Get it. Yeah, Jake. So sick.
Insane.
That was a great run. That I'm just going to say is going to be our new leader.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I don't think that's a stretch at all.
That was so
We were talking with Kelly in the women's semifinal about the work that you do in between wall to wall outside of the tricks, and that was a classic example of what that looks like.
He's so good at just holding his edge and getting the perfect line in the flat bottom. It's incredible.
Yeah, watch right here. He sets his edge, and hardly any snow is coming off his tail.
He's probably just managing speed at this point because he's just going so fast.
Reflective of someone that we're used to seeing dominating here in one Mr. Shaun White.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This was one of the biggest runs I've seen from him, too, like in terms of amplitude.
Yeah.
Did you see the little tweak at the end of that front five stale? It's the little intricacies of Jake's riding that I like so much. He just has a flair to him.
A 55.
Flow score is going to be strong. And it puts him in third.
Okay. I think he might have gone a little bit shaky on the grab on the double.
Okay.
Front up 10, which that's very easy for him to clean up.
That was an amazing run.
Yeah, very solid run.
I see a Chloe Kim sighting up there, up top. As we welcome in now, Derek Livingston from Aurora, Canada.
No stranger to the US Open.
And out of the riders here, he's been doing this a long time. Like, he's a very experienced competitor. He actually just finished up on the podium recently in his home country in Calgary at the World Cup. So he's coming in with some momentum.
Starting things off. Huge frontside 9. He did land a little bit low on that transition. So the back 3. And he is keeping amplitude through this pipe. Front 10 to end things for Derek Livingston. That was a really good run.
Again, another solid run.
It looked like he landed just a little low on that first hit front side 9. And that might have just affected the back 3, but I'll be darned if that wasn't pretty. That was a real nice looking trick. And then look at this, switch backside 900.
He did that so well, you really had to take a second look at that and realize that, oh, he's goofy foot.
Yeah, that was switch. And then this front side 1080.
That thing was great, that landing. And, you know, he was maybe could have got one more hit in.
I think he did the right thing. Pull the ripcord, call it, let that score come in if it's run 1. Run 2, maybe a different story. Maybe there's a little more assumed risk there.
I've seen him before where he's done one more hit and it's worked, and I've seen it before where it hasn't.
Yeah, that's a coin flip there sometimes.
Well, I'm excited about him because there's only 9 goofy footers in our field of 32. That's tough. That's tough for those guys. It's tough for us, the right foot forward crew.
Got so excited jumping up and down. I lost my pencil.
I like your style, man.
Mechanical pencil. It gone.
Nice solid scores across the board.
Criteria score coming in.
It's a good score.
71.9 for Derek Livingston.
Get up in that top 5.
Remember, we take 10 riders out of these 32. Their best score is counted out of 2 runs as we are in the back end of run 1. Jan Scher from Switzerland, 24 years of age.
And Jan's having a great year. He started off, he had a really big win in December, and he's learned a couple new tricks. We probably won't see them in the semifinals, but he's just, all in all, he's come on really strong this season. Starting things off with the backside 900 into the double cork 1080. And then frontside 900.
Frontside alley-oop. That was nice looking.
So those last 2 tricks, that last trick, the alley-oop seemed a little bit low.
Yeah, it did. I've actually never seen him do that combo before. And it was really cool. I think if he can get that alley-oop a little bit bigger on the second run.
Maybe more up.
Yep. But that back 9 first hit was a thing of beauty.
And then into this frontside double cork 10. Really nice landing on that. Into the cab 1080. I love nose grabs. Nose grabs and tail grabs.
Yeah.
Just adding that style. But this is the alley-oop at the bottom, and it just is a little low. He misses the grab on that. It's just off.
Yeah.
I've seen him do that way better. So one more chance to clean that up and get that to where it needs to be.
And that might have cost him a wall.
Yeah.
As well.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that request. Rain and blood. All right, let's go rehearse, guys. We need to learn that one. All right.
But as it stands right now, it still has him in that 10 cut. Second run is going to be so crazy, though. Like,
yeah.
It's just literally going to be starting over. Well, up next is Pat Bergener. You see him just texting mom. Let him know he's about to rip. Here's his thoughts on the U.S. Open, what it means to be here.
The special thing about this event is that every rider is here, you know, and you get to see so many different styles, so many different tricks, and every year something new happens here. You know, the contest season is almost over, and it's just time to just let it go and show your best.
Almost exactly like you said it, Maddie.
Have fun, ride with friends, just do what you got to do.
The sun's coming out. That pipe is... This is when you want to be riding half pipe.
Oh, yeah. The walls look like they're softening up as well.
Yeah, there's little wind. It's kind of cold. It's sunny. That was ridiculous. That right there, he calls it the burger flip. And when he does it switch, it's the vegan burger flip.
Okay. I like that.
He's a phenomenal rider, and he does a lot of switch riding that I think a lot of people don't notice.
Keeping it together.
The double Michael Chuck into the front side double cork 1080. There was a little bit of a bobble in there, but that is a really good first run from Pat Bergener.
Maddie, what's it like when from a light perspective, the pipe is cut kind of 50-50 from wall to wall?
With like shade on, yeah. I mean, since the sun's out with this, it doesn't affect it much because you've got this lighting coming from above in the shade. Only thing is the firmness. You've got this one wall with a really firm texture, and then you got a sunny wall that's super soft, and you kind of have to put that into account depending on how soft it is with how much you're popping, but he did a great job with it.
But his run was packed.
Yeah.
That was probably his only mistake right there at the end on that landing. And he still threw this trick.
And that was a switchback 9 up there.
It was a
That
switchback side
insane.
9. No, and he actually can do switchback side 1080s as well.
And he's got a nice new bowl cut that I'm pretty sure it was his buddy.
So yeah, you
Josh
see
Aaron.
right there in execution, that one bobble he was definitely penalized for just a little bit, but a 73.3 is a great score. Nowhere to go but up from there.
And with a little bit of a bobble on that landing.
Exactly. So he's sitting in 4th place right now. That's a good place to be after run 1, but we got some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
We're in the zone, folks. We are in the zone. Undefeated. Perfect season. Chase Josie. Excuse me. Sorry. That's Scotty James. I got too excited. Chase Josie is not undefeated.
He could be, though. This kid is unbelievable. He's one of the only snowboarders alive that can double cork, double overhead on every single hit of the pipe.
And do it switch as
And
well.
do it switch. I was gonna say, he's another one of the riders you're like, hey, he's regular foot, right? Because his switch riding is so on point and so good.
Yeah, check out some of these combos from wall to wall. They are ridiculous. Frontside double cork 10. Into the switch crippler. And then the switch Michael Chuck. And then the cab double cork 1080. Frontside 900. What's he got for his final hit? The double Michael Chuck. That was ridiculous. The technicality from wall to wall, keeping your speed in order to have the amplitude to get those kind of combinations around. Only Chase Josie can do it.
And what I've always liked about his riding, too, is when I first was introduced to this rider, it was at Red Bull Double Pipe, and he came out and won. And I really liked that he just is creative and can put those combinations together, someone like a Danny Davis. But he does it so well, switchback side.
Unreal. I heard a story.
So many of these tricks, it's just he knows the transitions and how to read them.
He's a cool kid, too. I heard when he won the snowmobile at Red Bull Double Pipe, he just ripped her, started her up, and just took it for a ride.
Yeah.
First things first. Just, all right, thanks for the sled. Later.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Unreal. I love it.
And he grabbed chicken salad.
Well, you see that trick difficulty score
through the roof
reflecting on all that switch technicality.
Yeah, I feel like if he can get that amplitude up a couple feet every hit, he's a top 3 contender.
Clean up a few things.
And with all those singles, with the switch singles, he has them in doubles, too, is the other thing. That was just cruise control right there.
Louis, as we're about to welcome in Ruka Hirano, chime on in, bud.
You know, imagine when we started this contest, we were making such a big deal about the first 4 riders to go, and we've continued to go up and up and up. And these last, 5 riders that have gone have just been blowing the doors off of it. You cannot take it easy in the semifinals here.
No chill. There's no chill.
And just like that, you know, the judges are really rewarding amplitude, and Ruka is definitely giving the judges some amplitude right there.
And at 16 years old,
huge frontside 1080 to end his run right there. You know, that was pretty flawless from top to bottom, landed high, held his speed, and had amplitude, because in a half pipe, you should be generating more speed by the time you get to the bottom, so ending with a big hit is very important.
That's a great point. And that's something that has definitely really been a consistency in the last 5 to 6 years. Whereas, you know, the last few walls, you'd understand if someone wasn't going as big, and now, that's not an option.
it is so hard to do that. It's easy to go big on the first hit, but to keep that amplitude throughout.
Well, and there's a certain feeling at the bottom of a half pipe with the crowd. You know, your last hit is 16, 18 feet out. You stomp it. The crowd goes nuts. I think the judges, everyone in attendance, certainly us as the announcers, you can feel that energy. I think it does help your score. The last hit of your pipe run is super important. Similar to in a surfing contest, if the last thing you do is a huge alley-oop 3, land it in front of the crowd, everyone goes nuts. There you go.
Well, you saw the judges liking the fact that Hirano went consistently huge. That height score up there.
Well, T-Bird, you got to remember that last hit also is the last trick that the judges remember. Exactly. So when they go down to write their score, that's the last thing that's in their mind.
Spoken from the man himself. He's been there a lot.
Guys taking a couple of laps. Ooh, boy. Put on your seatbelts, kids.
Buckling up.
We are strapping in here out of Yaizu, Japan. Raibu Katayama. What are we going to see, Louis? Oh, Louis gone. I thought you were still with us.
Louis, come back.
Come back.
I miss him.
Anyway, we're about to see some flying.
Yeah, we heard the soundbite from him earlier in the show. This kid came here to win. Make no mistake about it. He wants to stand at the very top of the podium here at the U.S. Open. That frontside 10 was gigantic into the cab double cork 10.
And frontside 900 with the backside 900. And that is how you do a first semifinal run.
Insane. And Raibu Katayama knows it. He feels it.
I like that no claim.
That was nice.
The no claim. Solid.
Second place finish
He said it's his dream to not be the runner-up, but to win. Big old, at least look like 16, 17 feet out on that method.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest backside airs we've seen today. Right into the frontside 1080. Taking all that energy and unloading it into this cab double cork 1080. And then the frontside 9. I mean, the combos that we're announcing today, ridiculous.
Pretty insane.
Back-to-back 10s, back-to-back 9s, and then a frontside double cork 1080.
And they're like the must-haves now too for the guys.
Oh yeah, that's your stock run.
Like
right
this
there.
is what it's the necessity.
And he's really, that landing, he's gotten so much better on bringing those landings around and setting up his body and his board for that.
Right on. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. So yeah, double cork. It's
Big scores all around. And just like that, we have a new leader. Raibu Katayama looking close to that dream. Runner-up last year, making the case to win this thing.
Second place last year here at the Burton US Open. And,
he's got such great energy all the time. It's awesome to hang out with him.
With the highest score.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, always laughing, always having a great time.
Well, if you have never seen this rider before, Yuto Tatsuka, just get ready because he's another rider, Tom, that when he drops into the half pipe, just boosts and makes everything look easy. And we've been talking about this all week, how the Japanese riders land high on the wall, and he's another example of that.
17 years old out of Yokohama, Japan, coming in hot.
Are you kidding me? That was insane. The inverted 5 into the back 9. Frontside 1080. Look at how far he's traveling down the pipe.
Double grab.
That was sick.
And finishes off with a frontside double cork 1080.
He got in like 2 hits less than everybody else because he was traveling so far down the pipe.
Traveling far, traveling high, and I don't think he ever landed more than a foot into the pipe.
Unreal. Absolutely incredible run from Yuto Tatsuka. I feel like moving forward, when it's a Japanese rider, we don't even need to try to throw the adjectives of incredibly talented. We just say, we got another rider here, he's from Japan. Take our word for it, he's gonna rip.
Watch where he lands on the wall, and that's where you should be landing.
But there is something to be said about, like, they have such a culture now, right? That they're known for that solid transition to transition riding. You can't not be that guy, or that woman. Like, that becomes a part of your culture. It's almost like Brazilian surfers and level of high performance as far as the air game is concerned. Like, that's what we do.
Yep.
And to finish off the way he did with that frontside double cork 1080.
Look at the amplitude. 23.1 out of 25.
Score coming in.
Breaking into the 80s.
Oh, we got a new leader.
Yeah. And our first score in the 80s.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it to come.
Our top 3 coming out of Japan, just a testament to the skill and talent coming out.
Well, we talked with Maddie about her rituals, energy rituals. Scotty James, Mr. Perfect, he has some rituals of his own.
don't really have a psych up. Don't really have a ritual. I wear my boxing gloves. That's kind of like my thing. I've got these red mitts, which I always use. It's only on finals day, though, because people are like, oh, why don't you have your boxing gloves on semi-finals? And I'm like, no, it's only when I'm coming in for finals that I wear them.
I like how I don't really have any rituals, but I do have this one
Really big
that applies.
ritual, yeah.
It's really big, red gloves on finals day.
And it's interesting because I never knew that because he always makes the finals, so you always see him in the finals with the red boxing gloves.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I never really paid attention to that.
It's Tiger with the red shirt on Sunday when he's coming from behind. Mr. Perfect has not lost an event this season.
Switch.
That was switch.
Switch back 10 into the back 9. Into the front side 1080. And this is where it gets interesting. Ending things with a front side double cork 1080. Now the thing you need to watch with Scotty James's riding is that he almost goes bigger on every single hit. He gains speed, he gains momentum, and he ups his amplitude.
Well, how about this first wall just being like hanging it all out with the switch back 10?
And there's something to be said about that too. I feel like the judges do reward you for the harder tricks higher up in the pipe, because if you bobble, if you fall, your run is done.
So what's crazy is I think Scotty here is riding at like 70%.
Yeah.
Like he can ride so much better than that run.
That's his
mind-boggling
third gear run. He's got about 6 gears. He's an Australian sports car.
Yeah, I mean, and it, like the front double cork 12 is casual, and you're like, oh, that's not even it. Look at these scores.
It's the highest we've seen all day.
All in the 20s.
First of 2 runs, score coming in.
No surprise.
Wow. And that is why he's undefeated this season. He is riding better than I have ever seen him snowboard.
And, you know, he first started going to the U.S. Open as a kid, as a spectator, competed at the Junior Jam at the age of 13. So now he's going for his very first U.S. Open win. He's never won this event before.
You almost feel like you expect him to be amongst those names and hasn't done so. You can see the focus. He is making the charge. Remember, we are only taking 10. We have one more run to go, 32 riders. Maddie, thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me. I need to watch the boys like this all the time. This is the best.
It is the best view
This
in
is
the house.
the best. Like, I'm loving the headset. I'm loving the couch. I'm like sinking in. I don't want to leave.
Well, you can stay if you want.
Well, don't get too comfortable on the couch. Sal is actually lobbying to take all the furniture home.
Oh.
Yeah, I want my living room isn't this adult. It's because I live out of my suitcase like everyone else does here on this couch. But no, this has been super fun. This next round is going to be.
Yeah, that was just one run. That's what's crazy is you've got those scores in the 80s by Yuto Tatsuka, Scotty James, and that's just one run. I mean, Raibu Katayama, I loved that soundbite at the beginning of the show where he's like, it's been a dream of mine since I was a kid to win the U.S. Open.
Yuto Tatsuka knocking on the door. That kid is unbelievable.
Yuto, I want to say, and this is crazy, he was even riding at like 80%. He has so much more that he could do.
Well, and we've seen it time and again. Contests can have a snowball effect where the more people are landing, the higher they're going. It pushes the entire field. It pushes the entire event to new heights. So I think the second run is going to be ridiculous because the way that ended with Scotty throwing down that run, 87.2, I can't wait to see.
Well, there's an energy about it. Even if you're not a professional rider, but you've spent time hiking a half pipe, you know there's an energy about it. When you see someone do something great, you're like, all right, now I'm going to do it.
Yep. All right, well, we are looking forward. We're going to welcome in Trey Hawkinson. That's the only reason why Maddie is leaving, because the legend Hawkin is coming in for these second runs. Stick with us here at the U.S. Open of Snowboarding 2019.
Welcome back to the Burton US Open. We just completed run number 1 of halfpipe semifinals, and I'm with the man that's on top of the leaderboard right now, Scotty James. Now, Scotty, you took one of those slams that you never really want to take all season, and you took it right before practice ended. How do you bounce back and get yourself ready mentally and physically for a run that you just put down?
Yeah, it wasn't an ideal setup for me coming into the contest. I took one of my probably biggest slams I've had in about 12 months and shook my head a little bit, but, you know, we're all pretty resilient guys up here, and, you know, I wasn't going to miss riding the US Open for anything. So I went back up, cleared my thoughts, and, you know, I know what I had to do and just wanted to go out and do it the best I could.
You know, you've had an amazing season thus far, undefeated. You pretty much are the rider with the target on his back. How do you deal with the pressure of everyone gunning for you?
Yeah, I got a big target on my back at the moment, but honestly, I'm kind of, you know, I enjoy it. The pressure I don't really feel from exterior. It's more interior for me, you know. It's on myself, and if anyone can understand that, it would be you, Louis. So, yeah, you get it.
Thank you, man, and good luck run number 2, and can't wait to watch you in the finals.
Hell yeah, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
That's some great perspective to get. Didn't realize that he had taken that bad a slam and decides to rip that hard. We replaced Matty Mastro with Terje Hawkinson. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm well. It is nice to have you in the booth.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Your first.
Thank you for being here.
Your first Open was 1990.
Yes.
What do you remember about what that felt like for you to come to the Open at that point?
I did like one World Cup before I went over to the US Open, and then we went to the World Championships in Breckenridge a couple weeks later. It was just amazing to see all the energy, you know, all the different styles, and yeah, I was just like a swamp. I was just picking up everything I could.
Yeah, as we see young Hugh Shimasaki, 12 years old, who's here picking up everything that he can. Then in 1992, you come back and you win the thing. What does it mean to win the Open?
I think, yeah, like Open is like one of the contests where most of the best guys will come there, and I think that's more important about like what title you're winning. You can win World Championships, European Championships, but if you know that a couple of guys are missing, you don't value it that high. So if there's a good pipe and you know everybody is there, I think I value that more higher than like just a title. And the US Open always had like a good group. There's like really few guys are really missing the Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only be like injuries normally.
I feel like every US Open I've been to, too, there's just something different with the crowd. The energy out there has always been so high at US Opens, even more so than at some other events.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the snowboarder event. And having it back in Vermont too, like that crowd was amazing. But I just remember being in Breckenridge too. The crowd was amazing in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we see the 13-year-old from Australia, Valentino Giselli, what do you think of this kid?
This is the future for sure. He goes higher than most of the seniors, you can see. Holy shit.
Did you see the chest pound?
Yeah.
Before he drops? Matty Mastro does the namaste. Valentino, quick chest pound.
Yeah. And this run is so much better than that first run. You could tell that first run he was just super excited to get into that half pipe and show us his stuff. But, I mean, that run was the one that he wanted to do.
Well, and Valentino, too, was one of those kids that, you know, for a very long time, he was kind of the little guy at the contest. So you're like, oh, look at that little dude ripping. And now he's a young man. He's got style.
I think he caught good trannies too. That's how he can keep his amplitude. I think that separates the guys, you know, like the guys who don't land too flat too often.
Yeah.
And you could see he was catching good tranny, and he has good amplitude all the way down, and guarantee going to see him in the final.
If you could whittle half-pipe riding down to one thing that people should remember, like the one thing you need to do to be a good pipe rider, Terje, what would that be?
It's to get amplitude and catch the trannies.
Yeah.
And that's hard because you got to time it right, you got to pop it right.
Yeah.
And we got a couple of factors. The light comes in flat light, little sun.
Yeah.
And luckily the wind is really light, so that's the biggest dangerous factor.
It seems like the light is kind of changing out there too. It's sunny for a couple runs, then the clouds kind of come in, but as long as that wind holds off,
yeah,
I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, the sun has been coming in and out throughout the day.
So what was his score here?
It was low. It was a 60.6.
Really?
Yeah.
But here's another Japanese rider. He was the one that really started kicking things off for the Japanese. Iko and I.
What do you think of the helmet style over the hoodie?
Well, it's definitely fashion before function.
Iko and I, backside 900 into the frontside 1080.
Cab 1080. And then the 1260. And alley-oop 540. What was your favorite trick in the half pipe?
Well, like twist and backside airs are my favorites, and air to fakie on the frontside wall. It's pretty simple, but
yeah.
But what I think, you say that, and I feel like everyone now still emulates the style that you had with those backside airs and the McTwists.
You were talking about that importance of transition riding, and it seems like for the Japanese riders, that's just a part of their culture now to have that outstanding ability on transition.
That's a pretty good. I like it too when you don't have to do the most spins. You can do like 540 spins, but with good style. I think like actually one of the best tricks for Shaun White is his upside down 540 on the frontside wall.
Yep.
That's where he has good style.
That's kind of his signature trick.
Yeah.
When you think of Shaun's pipe runs, because that's the one trick that he's always kept. And then he's added the bigger tricks around that.
You're exactly right. Yeah. He always does it in his run.
Because it's not really necessary who does the most spins, because a lot of people can do those. It's how amplitude and the style has a big factor, I think, how hard it is.
As we see Ryan Walkendorfer coming in, he's just outside the cut.
So he put his hands down on that final trick. So if you can keep his hands up off the wall.
Yeah, that would probably have.
What, you mean the layback?
Yeah, Ryan possesses the skill set to get up into that top 10. He's a really good half pipe rider. There's that frontside double cork 1080. Into the cab double cork 1080. Frontside 900, super inverted. And then the double Michael Chuck. And not quite able to hold it together. Ryan Walkendorfer, that is a heartbreaker on the last hit. Terry, what's that like? You got a good run going, you land all your stuff, and you fall on the last hit.
Well, that sucks. This format doesn't really allow you to fall on the last trick.
Yeah.
If it was a little different format, it might be like a little easier to get away with the hands dragging, or maybe it'll be a little sketchy. But I think people should also get rewarded for, like, if you send it really hard, you risk a lot, and you maybe touch a little bit, but you still should be compromised with like a good score, because you really up the ante with like difficulty and risk.
I almost wonder if he would have done just something a little bit more toned down.
Right.
And
frontside 10
like a frontside
or
9
like
or yep.
Yeah, would that have been enough to build upon that 69.49 first run score to get him up into that top 10?
Matt Ladley struggled in his first run. He's a guy who's coming back, as we mentioned, from some injury. I've always enjoyed this kid style.
Oh, man.
He's not even a kid anymore.
Yeah, it's not easy to like be away from the pipe that long and just drop in. That's not that easy.
I remember seeing footage of him from the Arctic Challenge.
Yeah.
His last year at the Arctic Challenge, and he was going gigantic. Ooh. And that's what got him on the first run, that front side 12.
You mentioned, Terry, you said that it's not easy. What is that difficulty like to come back to build a relationship with the pipe again?
Yeah, I just been here a few days, and I noticed myself, you're really nervous the first days, and a lot of speed, and the pipes are big, and you got to get used to the speed, and when you start doing all the corks and stuff like that too, you have a really hard coping here. So it's a lot of risk, I think, in the half pipe compared to slopestyle.
Terry, let's talk about the hawk and flip. Tell us how that came about. Who named it?
Jeff Brushy named it.
I like that.
And we're just kind of trying to do the cab into a McTwist, but then we kind of popped off the nose, and it turned more into an upside down cab. And I actually saw a couple other guys try it first, but I think I did it. We're filming for Pocahontas up in Blackcomb one summer, and then did it, and then we're chewing some hawk and chew at the time. And it's one of Brushy's things.
Somewhere Brushy's having a good laugh right now. Yeah, he's telling it right. That's exactly how it happened.
What was that, a hawk and flip?
I could see it, yep.
Jeff Brushy, legend, winner of this event in the past, as well as Taylor Gold, stomping his way in here.
And Taylor had that fall on the very bottom hit where he said his binding moved.
Nice.
I love that he starts his run off with a McTwist.
That was a big air drip.
Yeah, and unfortunately that is not going to be enough for Taylor Gold, but he's going to have fun ripping down the rest of his second run here.
Oh, he's going to get weird down here for sure.
I think Taylor's definitely going to be someone that we will see poaching in the half pipe come final.
Speaking of poaching, will there be a hawk and poach in the final?
I'll try it if it's not I think the new snow made it a little more friendly too. It's not that firm. So I'll do some runs.
Nice.
Yeah. You don't fly all the way to Vail without riding the pipe.
That's right.
I was impressed when I saw you the other night when you were checking in as a Taylor, throwing some slash in there. I saw your luggage, and I saw 6 bags of extremely healthy-looking food from Whole Foods. I was like, this dude is still obsessed about what he puts in his body.
Yeah, well, you run better on better fuel. That's logical, right?
Simple.
Have you always been that way when you were younger, when you were traveling a lot?
Not from the beginning, but when I start traveling with older people, and a lot of with Craig Kelly, and I met some surfers that were older, and they always told me they brought me into some health food stores and just telling me the basics, and everything is just really logical.
Yeah.
And but I stopped drinking Coca-Cola when I was 13 without anybody telling me, because we did the experiment of putting stuff in Coca-Cola overnight.
And you were like, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack Collins definitely went for it on that first wall. He's down there at the second to last on this last run.
Yeah, not really easy to get into the top 10. You really got to he was talking about Scotty was not really riding 100%, but a few guys can take it a little easy, but most of these guys got to really do 100%.
Yeah,
110%.
And that's how it was in slopestyle semifinals too. Gone are the days of the qualifying run. You have to throw your best worst run, even to be in consideration for the finals, and then you got to step it up from there.
Yeah, you used to be like, oh, what's he saving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's she saving?
There's no saving.
There's no savings accounts anymore.
I feel like the only riders that really are saving something is, Raibu, Yuto, Scotty.
Yeah.
Just those top, 3 to 5 guys.
Yeah, because Scotty James, just qualified first after run 1 with an 87.2, but he could put down the score right now, 97.2 if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He's got 3 or 4 tricks in the pipe that he can improve upon.
Lucas Collins coming in next, running that 101.
19 years old, coming out of Telluride, Colorado. Riding the Benedek throwback.
Davey B. Where are you?
Backside 540. Into the inverted front 7. Cab 720 there.
Double crippler.
And a backside 900. So Lucas Foster putting down a good run. He's currently not up in that top 10.
He's at the bottom.
Yeah, I think he crashed in his first run. I think that's the first one he's put to his feet all day today, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think he crashed like over the line, though. I would have given it to him in the first run.
Give it to him. Oh, that's what you said?
You know who else said that?
There you go.
This guy.
That's exactly what Sal said.
Yep.
Because he was sending it, you know, he's risking it, and he was like going for it, and I think you should be rewarded for that. And like if you have a little hand drag or whatever, and he was like over the line,
yeah,
buckled a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I maybe know a little bit of stuff now. But I said the same thing. I was like, cross the line.
Give it to him.
Give it to him. The 8 people next door are like, really, guys? You really? You know we can hear you.
You know we're going to see you at dinner tonight, right?
Yeah. Louis, I know that we got folks watching from around the world. They're talking to you. What are they saying?
Jessica from Alaska wants to know what your favorite trick to watch is. I'm going to answer it first because my favorite trick is like an air to fakie or an alley-oop, something slow and smooth. So what's your guys' favorite trick to watch?
I'm with you. Favorite trick for me is probably air to fakie.
Mine would be probably just a big McTwist.
I'm going to go with... Ooh, that's a great question.
It is a good question.
I think just a method. Backside air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Louis?
Mine's an air to fake or an alley-oop. I just love the slow spinning tricks that you can really poke out. And it is pretty difficult to land those alley-oops when you're spinning up the hill while traveling down. I just like to watch it.
All right, well, next up is Jason Wole, 6 feet tall. Do you feel? I feel like we've been saying, like, tall riders, when they have good style, almost can look better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably less tall riders, so it's a little advantage, though. The pipe will be a little smaller for those guys.
Right, it's a mini pipe for them.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, that's what I was saying. It like kind of forces you to go bigger. You almost have to go bigger. Front side 900 right there.
Rides that, trains out at the copper pipe.
Frontside double cork 1080. Not quite enough air time to put it fully to his feet there for Jason Wole. But he's 19 years old. We're going to see him again at the US Open. I can guarantee that. He had a good showing today.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how people land on their toe on the heel, even if it's like not the right way. They're just used to it. They can go off the backside wall and still land on their heel before they switch to the toe.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess they're just different styles or techniques.
There's that front side double cork 1080. And then here on the cab double cork 1080.
How important is it to get rid of those bad habits so that you're spending less time adjusting from wall to wall?
It's like the speed thing, you know. One thing is like you normally speed check because you don't want to go too fast or risk it too hard. But you can see like some of the top riders, there's hardly any speed check. They got a really good flow, and that's how they can keep the amplitude all the way down.
Someone like Scotty James is so good at that.
Yeah, but also like if you want to do a speed check and you might did a little too much, and then you kind of messed it up.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, people, they wouldn't speed check in the middle, but right after they land. So you don't even see them speed check, but they do a little slide right when they land.
Yep.
It's interesting when you start watching like the edge work from a rider and really start to see the front side and how they land hillside and really look at that. It kind of, everything starts to make more sense in the half pipe, how they pop, their rotations.
Junsik Lee had a big run that had him in that qualifying position after his first run. He's bumped down to 11 now, but definitely showed us with tons of style what he's capable of. Oh, he just takes a bad one on that front wall.
Yeah, he just caught his toe edge right there.
Yeah, like I think he had a little less speed. If he had more speed on that, he would have caught the tranny more.
Yeah.
If you slow down too much and then you pop, you're going to land flat.
Yeah, you're going to go into the pipe, and that's exactly where you don't want to go.
Well, you saw Ski Patrol. They were down there with him immediately, and we'll get him attended to. And like we said earlier with Matty Mastro, as we saw the injury from David Hablitzel in his first one, I do have an update, by the way, that he is in stable condition, and they're taking him down to a local hospital for further tests, but he is stable, and we'll get some more information. But this is a part of what you do at this higher level.
Yeah, it's called the action sport, and you know that's everybody's know that before they drop in or start doing it. Obviously, you know, like when you're in the competition, you push yourself, other people push you, so the risk is a little higher than just like free riding or just free cruising. So
when you see the level being what it is, we talk about this field of 32 and how hard it is to make this cut of 10. What's the thing that I guess gives you the most hope for the future of snowboarding at this level? What are you seeing from young riders that make you go like, okay, I'm excited for where the sport's going?
When you talk to them, I think it's more like I think a lot of people want to get away from this kind of format. It's been like staled. I think the IOC and FIS has really messed up the whole system because, you know, you have 3 runs, the best count. People have trick lists in their pockets, and you can actually know what placing you get almost before you start. You don't have that in surfing and skateboarding. You obviously have different waves every time you go. You have different winners, different skate parks, different trannies. Some people are going to do good in that park, and here in the snowboarding, you always have the same thing. It's time to change it up a little bit, and I think it's also like bringing back like the medium pipes. You know, you have the small ones a lot of places, but you don't have the medium ones.
Yeah.
And I think the medium ones don't have to be that perfect because here, if you have little bumps in it, you will feel it because you're going so fast. And it intimidates a lot of people. Like the junior jams here was like amazing. Like the pipe was huge for those little guys. And so hopefully I think we'll see more maybe like little smaller pipes too to get more creative riding, more style and stuff. And not just like, we did a testing with Arctic Challenge like 5-6 years ago, and we got some young guys coming up to me. I'm like, this is the first contest I did without a trick list in my pocket. Because we had like channels and gaps in the pipe, and you can kind of like lose your speed but still get in some technical tricks with the features we had in there.
And that spontaneity and creativity in sort of responding to what the terrain is giving you.
Yeah. And that was like, I did the same thing in the 90s. I had like a couple of winning runs, and I stuck with that for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was because of the format.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But I like the idea, too, of just smaller pipes or that medium pipe so that you can actually get into a pipe and figure it out and learn the transitions and learn how to work versus just dropping into a 22-foot pipe where, I mean, you talk about the speeds. They're going so fast in that pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard for a resort to maintain a pipe like that, too. Not a lot of places in the world has a big pipe like that because it costs a lot of money to maintain it, and it's hard. Even if you maintain it, you got to have good guys to maintain it, too. So there's a couple of factors in there, but I see a lot of like smaller pipes come around the resort. So
yeah, even here,
you
have a nice little medium pipe.
Yep.
And that makes it, like you said, far less intimidating just to the general public and for kids to get interested in riding half pipe in general. We saw that Jun-Sik Lee was getting attended to there at the bottom. They are slipping the pipe, and we will get back to competition shortly. So nice to see that he is okay. As we get back to it with Victor Ivanov from Switzerland.
Currently sitting in 31st place right now, so nowhere to go but up for Victor Ivanov, 19 years old, coming out of Switzerland.
I've never understood the baseball bill on the helmet.
Yeah, I see a lot of it too.
I know it can rain sometimes, you know.
That was a really nice method from Victor Ivanov into the frontside 1080, into the cab double cork 1080.
He's really sending it.
Yeah, I really like this angle there with the follow cam. It gives the audience a pretty good view of how gargantuan.
That was a smooth
Those
run, I
pipe
thought,
walls
because
are.
he was catching trannies the whole way down. He had good speed. You know, maybe like for the judges, not maybe like the most technical tricks, but the style and the smoothness was.
I think he knew you were in the booth. He said, let me make sure I hit this method as hard as I can.
Frontside 1080 right there into the cab, double cork 1080.
And he was sitting in 31st position after or before this run. I mean,
Yeah.
this is definitely going to move him up into the standings here. The frontside 1260 tail. Ooh, trying to hold on to the grab on that one.
And then the crippler. Yeah, that was a really good run from Victor. It's definitely going to be an improvement from 31st. The question is how much. He's psyched.
Is it enough? Kid's fired up. Hey, Victor, good riding there. Run to the hills.
Score coming in for Victor, even off 62.8. So a good score, not enough.
Yeah, moves him mid-pack in the field. And like we kept saying, like, hey, if you finish 16th out of like most of the best dudes in the world at the US Open, like, you had a nice week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely understands the way of riding pipe, though, catching that tranny in the right spot. I don't get it. Like, some people will just land flat for years. I don't know how they can handle.
Was there ever a time where you were nervous dropping into the US Open pipe?
Yeah, today.
As Gian Elias Allensbach comes in, goofy footer.
Starting things off with a stale fish on his frontside wall. Going for the backside 9. Almost looked like he was going to stall it out and go back 7. One of my favorite tricks in the pipe, backside 7. They are crazy hard to do. And those who can do them, Elijah Teeter used to have an insane back 7.
Yeah, Bjorn Linus too.
Yeah. People forget Bjorn almost made the Olympic team.
Yep.
Yes.
He was an insane half pipe rider.
Danny Davis has one too.
Danny D, absolutely. Yeah, so Elias Gian Allensbach going to stay in 28th place.
Easy to control. And yeah, that's for sure my favorite. All right, so that is not going to be an improvement
Louis,
there. 28th place.
I hear that someone's got a question for Terry.
Thanks for having me.
I do have a question. Terry, this is for you. Large wants to know, where do you see the future of Norwegian snowboarding?
Good question. Well, the federation just got rid of our big pipe, our super pipe. So that's not really going the right direction with the federation styles. But, you know, there's a lot of talented guys there. There's a lot of good resorts that has good parks. So, I don't know. We just have to wait and see.
Well, and that's what's interesting about that is the slope style. Norwegians are so good at slope style, and right here we've got Kaishu Hirano, Ayumu's younger brother.
Oh, part of the royal bloodline of Japanese half-pipe riding.
Somehow caught toe side and ended up bottom turning back up the pipe.
But in Norway, there's so many good slope style riders, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have that academy up in Yalo, Norway?
Yeah, you can do snowboarding in schools for a long time, you know,
and tons of really good riders.
You know, it's just really hard because there's not a lot of big pipes around the world.
Yeah.
And pipes takes longer time. It's more risky, I think.
Yeah.
And but the federation's new move was just like they made 2 big airs where the pipe is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And for me, big air is just a showcase event for snowboarding. It's like a fun little thing, and you can have big airs anywhere in the resort. And they just really took away this beautiful pipe with a lift, where actually international riders came sometimes too just to ride it. So it's going a little backwards in Norway sometimes.
Okay.
How long before they put you in charge?
Yeah, that'd be the day.
It sure would be fun. There would be no lies told, that's for sure. And that's one of the things that we love and respect about you. Never afraid to tell the truth. And I feel like Danny Davis is definitely that person as well. We've been talking about that, with his style also being that person. Like, when it needs to be told, he tells it.
Switching it up from the first round.
Oh, that is a thing of beauty right there.
Good drift.
Backside 3 into the switch method. But then right into a cab 10.
Oh, and then going for a 1260 at the bottom.
Wow.
Wow, he was trying to make
Danny D going for the front side 12.
I mean, you want to talk about just like the full platter of what snowboarding can be in a half pipe. Like,
That's it.
That's it.
And I think like a different format you can actually see, because now he just completely changed his run from the first run. Did something different.
I loved that first.
And I don't know, as a spectator, I want to see more different tricks, more styles, and people feed off each other a little more. Not that list in their pocket, but yeah, Danny got a good style, and he's into creative to boarding. And you can look at like skateboarding, where the vert guys are over 40 and they're still ripping it, you know.
Yeah.
But it was, if those contests would have the different format, I think it would be less older guys, because obviously the more acrobatic you do, it's going to be harder for older age, but you can still do a lot of the basic with style and power to the older age.
And a ton of creativity that, like, you have to master those tricks. Like, you look at, you mentioned skateboarding, you look at someone like Bucky Lasek, like, he still does and has like lip tricks that no one wants to touch.
Yeah.
So Danny Davis now sitting in 9th position.
Ooh, which makes it interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting.
You got that tight already.
Whew. T, when did you get into half-pipe riding? What were some of your earlier memories of riding half-pipe?
We used to hand shovel these things for the holidays back at my local resort. Our local resort was really... He had a son that snowboarded, so they were just helping out. They piled a couple of walls together, and we just hand shape it for a couple of days, and then I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know the names, or, you know, I didn't have a skateboard background. You know, I'm from the countryside. But we had like skaters from the town riding at our resorts, bringing all the names and the tricks, and you can go on your hands, you know. And wow.
Let's get these inverts popping.
Talk about a completely blank canvas.
I know.
Like,
that's so cool.
That's what you have to remember, is it that, yes,
Yeah.
completely blank canvas.
this is where all of that came from.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Bowman.
He's also
Mammoth.
a tall guy.
Yeah.
20 years old. Yeah, coming out of Mammoth Lakes, California. Dropping in for his second and final run. And that's the exact trick that gave him trouble in the first run when Maddie was in here.
Yeah, he popped really hard and landed flat on that first time. Going for the same trick. You know, at Brighton, you know, they're mostly known for their backcountry and, you know, just milling and riding powder and stuff like that. But they put in a pipe, a real mini pipe, and it was just like, let's get up there and ride it.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, the thing I like about half-pipe, you get so many hits in a short period, and when you can always land in the tranny, it's just butterless, you know. And then, you know, I like going through the parks too, you know, but even like if you do 10, 15 jumps a run, you're going to land pretty hard, like you're going to feel it. That's why I like the trannies, the tranny finders. Even just free riding too, you always look for a tranny to land in.
Yeah. Is it flat? Ben Ferguson.
Yeah, this kid is so fun to watch ride a snowboard.
You know, I talked to him yesterday, and he was just saying, I mean, what a great season, though, for him to be filming and doing other aspects of snowboarding. You know, hasn't really been riding a lot of the half pipe, but I think after that first run, he's got the jitters out of the way, getting his half pipe run back. But he's just been having a really fun season out in the backcountry.
Yeah, and Ben's one of those riders who he wants to evolve his snowboarding year over year by learning new skill sets, jumping into unknown territory. You know, when someone first came to him and was like, hey, you want to go build a jump in the backcountry and jump on a snowmobile, he's the first dude who's like, yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's one reason why he's so good.
Exactly.
That was nice.
Air to fakie double grab into the cab double cork 1080. And then that double crippler just falling out of the sky. Backside 360.
Switch McTwist.
Oh, that switch McTwist was unreal. And then the switch alley-oop. Double back rodeo.
And there it is.
Danny Davis knows it. He is psyched for his homie, Ben Ferguson.
Yeah, he was even yesterday like, I don't know if I can get my run back. It's been a while since I've been in the half pipe, but take a look at this run. That first air was so nice.
I feel like there's a lot of similarities between Danny and Ben in their approach to half pipe riding.
Yeah, also the trick choices, like fake McTwist and you switch method. Like switch method is not really a hard trick, but the way they do it, that's hard because they have amplitude and the poke.
Yeah.
I like the goggle adjustment straight into the switch McTwist.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
I don't know how he gets 2 rolls on that little air.
That's exactly what Sal said earlier.
How? How, Sway? How?
Check out some of Ben Ferguson's riding.
Look at a 48.
Best moves out there. Such a well-rounded rider.
So 67.2. And
pretty much, Ben Ferguson said, I'm not stoked.
I'm not stoked either.
Yeah, so not enough for
He was
Ben.
definitely risking it, and there's a couple of squirrels not catching the trend in all of them, but still the risk factor and the trick choices should have gone way up there.
Well, so Danny Davis still in 9th place, and Derek Livingston is the bubble boy right now in that 10 spot.
As we are just past the halfway mark.
So how many other...
We actually are, we have 16 more to go.
How many out of those guys are not in the top 10? Out of those 16?
That's a good question. We'll have to do the math.
I think there's a couple. There's a handful in there that can shake up that top 10. So it's going to get interesting here in the second half of these runs.
And well, also David Hoblitzel is out, so that's
Correct.
one less. We're at 15. But we'll figure out. That run was interesting. I mean, you saw Danny Davis literally get up. He got so excited that it got him up out of his seat to be like, yeah.
Yeah. That's where the flow score is supposed to come in and the overall impression, right? Like we were talking about that. Just how does it make you feel?
I thought he was going to get a bigger number.
I did too.
But we're not judges.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank God.
Christoph Lechner. And that's the nice thing about here. Like, if you actually have a problem, you can actually go up and talk to those guys.
Yeah.
And women, and they'll tell you why.
They're a diplomatic bunch, too. They're open to constructive criticism, for sure, at the Open. It's nice to see.
From Germany, it's Christoph Lechner, 18 years of age. He's down at the bottom of the pack right now.
Backside 900 into the front side 1080.
Nose manual?
Yeah, he landed a little back seat on that one, but held on. He's keeping his amplitude. He's boosting in the bottom of the pipe, and he decided to pull the ripcord. He said, you know what? I want to see what this score is. I feel good about it. Not trying to sneak in that last and final hit because, as we said, that it can be a coin flip. It can work for you or against you. There's that backside 900 into the front side 1080. Watch this landing here, just holding on. And then the switch frontside 900. Into the switch back 5.
That's a hard spin.
That is a really hard spin.
Yeah, anything going on the heel side, on the front side wall, it's hard.
Yeah. Who were some of your favorite half-pipe riders when you were, competing at the Open? Who were you excited to drop in next to or kind of it out with?
Obviously, Brushy.
Yeah.
I rode with him a lot. We traveled together a lot. And Palmer.
Palmer. What was he like up in the rider tent?
He's fun. He always he was actually like really nice compared to like some other guys who try to get in your head. Like Jimmy Scott was always trying to get in your head.
I've heard stories.
You know, like he was always like, even like the new guys, when I remember when Sebo and Alexi came, and he always like tried him. But Palmer told me like when Jimmy dropped in, he's like, just go right behind him, just go bigger.
I feel like when I see Jimmy Scott out at Swami's now, even to this day, he's still trying to get in everybody's head. We're just out here having a fun surf, Jimmy. It's okay.
Yes.
But I give the credit to Jimmy. He like always tried to make the pipe the best. He always like came out and shoveled the kinks away and really wanted to have a good pipe.
Yeah. Super competitive. You and Todd Richards had some battles.
Stay in your line!
What'd that guy scream?
Stay in your line? I don't
Stay in
know.
your line?
Oh, man, I remember.
Noah Selesnik had really good runs, too. He was switching it up like with tricks I didn't see from the other guys. Just simple, like, fakey half cabs and, like, more of the stuff like actually Ben and Danny's doing early stage.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is going back to that, Danny Davis was telling me that he's been watching some of the older movies and films and kind of trying to watch guys like Noah Selesnik and you and watch the combinations that you did and start to emulate that now.
And when you watch the Noah Selesnik video part, you just got excited because it was going to be a bunch of stuff that you never would have even dreamt of. And he made it look simple.
Well, and then he took it to like big mountain stuff and just blew minds. That guy was unreal.
Yeah, like Noah too, though. Like he was a really good free rider, backcountry rider.
Yeah, super good.
From France, here is Liam Torkey on his second run, currently in that 25th spot.
Dropping into the pipe now. Look at him pump that transition wall and take all that speed into his first hit. Backside air got a little bit squirrely there. Something threw him for a loop. Into the front side 9. Backside 5, traveling about 45 feet down that half pipe. Into the front side 10. And the cab 1080. I don't think that's the run that Liam wanted, but he kept it on his feet. So I think it's going to be an improvement from his first run score. By how much?
Yeah, it popped a little early on that first one.
How hard is it to regain your like momentum when you have a bad first wall?
Yeah, it can really mess up your speed and stuff, and I'm sure like when I'm riding, I'm just doing basic tricks, so I don't really have to recap anything. But for these guys to have their tricks in and stuff, it's not easy. It messes up the flow for sure.
Well, and because they practice it in succession over and over and over, that if one thing gets thrown off just a little bit, it can mess up the entire run.
44.2 for the criteria score and overall impression.
Terry, how was Japan? You were just in Japan pretty recently.
Yeah, well, Japan is always nice, you know. You don't get the premium powder every day, but even if you don't get the premium, it's still good.
Yeah.
This year, I feel like I've just been thumbing through my Instagram feed and it's all Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I have to go and do it now.
It's easy to have a good time over there. The terrain is not really the most radical, but you guaranteed a good time.
Yeah.
We will welcome in Kwang Ki Lee with the bright orange.
Lucky with the light. The light is keeping up. It's a little sun here and there.
And this rider's currently sitting in that 6th position.
He had a big run.
Yeah, it's so far pretty good for him.
Yeah, 6th is good. When you're talking about cutting it down to
8th,
that
9th,
10,
10th,
though.
that's...
Yeah, absolutely. Backside 540 right there from Kwang Ki Lee.
Got those ninja spins down.
Yeah, this kid can spin extremely fast and not quite able to put it all the way to his feet. Now he's got to sit in that pressure cooker right there. 6th place spot.
Semi-safe.
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 Right now, if you're Scotty James, you're safe. You're going to see Scotty James in the final. Sixth place.
And there's a couple riders coming up that are still out of that top 10. Terry was asking about this earlier. Chase Blackwell, who will be coming up next. Chase Josie is still sitting out of that 10th position.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shocker.
And Jan Scher.
Yep.
So those three could really get up there.
Winners will be selected during the half-pipe finals, DC. And
Louis, you down the bottom?
Oh, you know what I'm hanging out down here.
Entry here to the U.S. Open next year.
You guys ready for some social? Agent Orange wants to know, how the heck are they scoring these runs? Well, Agent Orange, we're judging amplitude, trick difficulty, and execution. And then we have a group of judges that are judging flow, which is the overall impression. How smooth the run is, top to bottom. Is there bobbles? Are they double edging? Are they landing high on the wall or low on the wall? So a lot of things go into it, but mostly look at the execution. So he's dropping in switch here. Chase Blackwell with that cab 1080 double grab. Right into the front side, double cork 1080. You know, I love the double grab. It just separates him from the rest of the riders of just grabbing one spot. He's grabbing twice at the same time. And he's coming in right here, holding on right into the backside 900. And the last hit, what has he got for the judges? Woo, just sitting down, unfortunately. Couldn't put the run together, but that first hit was beautiful. I love seeing that first hit. I can't wait to watch the replay on that right here.
There's that front side 1080 right into the cab 1080. So things started off really well.
Mute Stellfish grab.
I like that, the double grab into the front side 5, and it looks like he just lost a little bit of speed before that front 5. And got a little squirrely on that air to fakie Japan.
It's a Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart?
Wasn't it?
Yeah. And then the switchback 9. Into the cab 10. So unfortunate for Chase Blackwell.
Thanks everybody watching.
And Chase Blackwell,
Only 19.
great edit. Look up his Instagram. Chasing
Plenty more of these for him to go.
He's got a dope edit on there for the his entry into the clip.
Here comes Kent Callister from Australia. Spends his time up at Mount Bachelor. He's in a nice spot here in fifth.
Yeah, fifth is a pretty good place to be.
He's
right
good.
now.
And a lot of the riders that are coming after him are already in that top 10, minus just a select few, like your Chase Josie and your Jan Scher.
So Danny's still in there, right?
Yeah, Danny's still in ninth.
Danny's currently in ninth place, yep. All right, so Kent Callister starting things off with an air to fakie, and he just landed a little bit flat.
Not a little bit. Don't be too nice on the flat landings.
That was the deep end. He popped a little too hard.
That
there.
hurt.
So Ken Callister, he can toss that one aside, though.
Oh.
Currently sitting in fifth place. I feel pretty confident.
To your point, though, how much do those deep flat landings start to take their toll?
Yeah, I think, in the 90s, I used to have like a shin splint inflammation on the sides, but we had really soft boots, and the thing too is like our strap just cuts the blood circulation, and you keep banging it with the flat landings, then you get sore calves, definitely. And
Heels, bruised heels.
So that's like, well, I got footprint insoles, so I don't get bruised heels.
Jake Pates texting with his mom, letting her know he's that everything's good in this next run will just be for fun.
Hey, Mom. Yeah, still here at the U.S. Open. About to drop in for run 2.
But, again, we talked about this in the women's semifinal, like not treating each run like an opportunity to improve towards your goal.
Absolutely, and especially now. I mean, Jake is one of those riders where if he didn't make finals, it'd be a surprise. He's currently sitting in 7th place. You want to get up into that kind of top 5 right now to really feel comfortable that you're going to make it into finals. And so I think Jake is going to go for it right here. Backside 540. Into the front side double cork 1080. And then coupling that with a cab double cork 1080.
Ooh.
That frontside 5 was insane.
That was a great run. And you know what I like too is he actually toned down the number of rotations he does on some of those tricks.
Yeah.
But he did them so much better.
Yeah, that first hit backside 5 was really, really nice.
Yeah, also doing an indie grab that is a lot harder than a mute.
Yep.
It was not like really hold, but he got a poke in there, so. Yeah, the difference between the grabs is a lot like harder than like, you can see a lot of people just going for the stock, the tail, or the mute is like the easiest one, I would say.
And I was saying in his first run that Salentina, he just has a little something else in his riding, like just a flair to it that he's got great style. He's really fun to watch Jake Pates ride a snowboard.
Well, he's fluid from wall to wall.
Exactly, yep. This might be a big score here for Jake Pates. Currently sitting in 7th. 78.7, so he is going to improve all the way up to 4th, and he's officially safe.
Fourth place, 78.7.
He did exactly what you said he needed to do. Tent vibes.
You been up in the tent yet?
Yeah, had some water up in the tent.
How is it up there?
It's nice and chill.
Are you talking to the kids? Are you asking them how they're feeling? Chatting them up?
No, not everybody's just watching the screen. I don't know, too much talking going on there.
So Derek Livingston dropping in next. He is in that 10th bubble position at this point. So, Sal, you've said this before with the riders. He really, he kind of has the final say right now.
Yeah, 100% in his own hands.
Front 12 from Derek Livingston into the back 3. Oh, and then switch back 9 into the cab double cork 1080. Insane combinations from Derek Livingston, and then a frontside 1080.
Yeah, he was not holding back.
He wasn't.
No.
Well, yeah, you do not want to be sitting in 10th place with about a dozen riders left to drop.
Well, there's actually not that. I think the only person who could knock him out is Jan Scheer.
And Chase Josie.
Okay.
But still, that's
a chance.
That's knocking you out from 10th to 11th.
Yeah, you're in 10th. So will this make a difference? Will he switch spots?
No, it's the top. The top of that run was really nice, but he had this bobble. This is so nice. Watch the landing on this. Ugh.
I don't know how they land on the heel like that.
Yeah, so there's
without their knee coming out of their.
That looks painful.
So is that a better run than Danny Davis?
So the trick difficulty score is huge.
See what the scores come in like.
I think he will up the ante on this one.
Oh, wow. Wow. So he just bumped Danny Davis.
That's what I was saying.
Down to the bubble.
Muy interesante. So the only person left outside of the cut is Chase Josie, correct?
And Jan Scheer.
And Jan Scheer.
Who's actually up right now. Yep.
It's getting stressful.
I think I'm more nervous than Danny right now.
All right, only 2 can take out your favorite snowboarder's favorite snowboarder.
I want to see if Louis, too, maybe after this run we can talk to Louis to see where Danny is actually standing down there.
A backside 900 from Jan Scheer into the... That was like double crippler, late front 180, but unfortunately...
Started really good off, though. That was a good backside 9 with a good grab.
That backside 9 looked good, but Jan Scheer...
Thoroughly not stoked.
Thoroughly not stoked. That will not do it. That will not affect the top 10, which now means only Chase Josie.
Yeah, he started off nice with this backside 900, and he's actually, I feel like the beginning of this year, he was riding really, really well. and then comes around on this and just not enough rotation and goes down.
Not enough amplitude to do that rotation. You can see he was popping like really early on the wall too.
Yesterday he's got an injured foot, so Jan wasn't even sure he was going to be able to compete today. And he's coming out, tough kid.
Louis, what are the people saying here with our few runs left?
Well, I just got the shout-outs from around the world. We got Oleg from Ukraine, we got Luis from Argentina, and we have Jorge from Mexico. It's crazy to see how many people from around the world watching this event. We have a huge international field and an international viewership. That's insane to me. I love to see people enjoying this from all over.
Yeah, we had people checking in this morning from South Africa.
I want to know if someone, like, what's the craziest time for them? Like, it's about 2:30 for us. I haven't looked at the time, but what time is it where you are?
Yeah.
Is it 3 a.m.?
Yeah. Somebody's probably doing like the 3 a.m. dance right now. Well, Pat Bergener is in 8th. He is safe. Chase Josie's the only person left who's out. So what is he going to do with this run?
Oh, too fakey.
What do you think of that trick, the burger flip?
I like it.
I think that's one of the coolest pipe tricks being done right now. Double Michael Chuck into the double cork frontside 1080.
Cab double cork 10.
Frontside 12.
Wow. That was a really good run.
So Pat Bergener is not settling for top 10.
You know, and Pat, every contest he's mixed up his line.
Yeah.
Like some contests, he'll do the switch backside 10 on the bottom hit.
I'm really impressed how much you know about the half-pipe riding.
I might cry.
No, a lot more than me.
Tina has the most incredible photogenic memory of runs of anybody in snowboarding. It's incredible.
Yeah, he was catching good trannies here too, and that was giving the amplitude in the end.
This kid's also a very talented musician, Pat Bergener. Amazing guitar player. He just put out his, I think his first record about a year ago. Yeah.
That's cool.
Super talented musician.
Yeah, he's one of those riders that can kind of sneak up out of nowhere and upset that podium.
Look at that trick difficulty score.
Wow.
And execution. They were feeling him.
That is a huge score. 84.6.
8-2.
Second place.
And what's scary too, though, is that he missed a couple of his hardest tricks. He didn't include them.
So Pat Bergener officially came to play at the US Open. 8th place to 2nd place. And now it gets very interesting.
Oh, man. And Chase Josie can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Fully 100% capable.
He has all the switch tricks. The first run, it just seemed lacking the amplitude.
Well,
and just some of the cleanliness.
Last person that could send Danny Davis into the viewership column.
Frontside double cork 1080. Into the switch frontside 5. And the switch double heave-ho. Into the cab double cork 1080. Frontside 900, and he's going to call it right there. He's going to hedge his bets. This is going to get pretty interesting here.
Yeah.
What do you think, Terry?
If I was a judge, he kind of like, I don't like it when they cut the last jump. You know, like when we rode, we were like trying to get most hit as possible.
Yeah.
We even have that, like if you had a wall that was like a 1 meter high, we'll still try to do a hand plan on it.
Yeah.
But now here they're like, you know, they will do the biggest trick in the end, grab their boot, and then they will cut the last one, and they will just claim it. That's like, you know, you're supposed to ride the whole pipe.
Yeah.
So here's that last trick he did, and then he could have gotten one more hit in, like you said.
It looked like it was an active choice to be like, yeah.
A lot of people do it. I've seen, I don't even want to call it names.
Well,
we know.
Be enough. The score is 72.87.
71.2.
Not enough.
Wow.
And Danny Davis
happy with that one. Unfortunately, we will not see
breathes a sigh of relief. And you got to ask the question, did that last wall, choosing to not take it that last wall, make a difference?
Even if he went in and just did a backside air.
I think so. Don't skip the last hit.
Yeah, and Chase Josie was visibly not happy with that score.
Yeah, but Ben Ferguson was not happy either.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and, you know, there's always going to, it's a judging sport.
Yep.
You're never going to get everybody happy in judging sports.
All right, so Ruka Hirano in the pipe.
Giant frontside 9 to start out with.
And he is in the top 10, so this is a fun run for him. Imagine that.
Well, it was a fun run for Pat Bergener, too. And he went from 8th to 2nd.
Exactly.
Well, that's a really good run.
Yeah, frontside double cork 12 to end it. And maybe with Pat Bergener, maybe that's a strategic thing, because when they drop in the finals, they're dropping in reverse order. So as it stands right now, if no changes are made to the top 10, Scotty James has a huge advantage dropping last in the finals.
Right.
Because you get to see what everyone else does, and then you adjust your run from there.
And you have to remember.
And you know what? That's not a good format, because for a spectator, you're going to have those, what do you call the victory runs and stuff like that? Right. So what we always did at the Arctic Challenge, we had like the guy who was leading before the last one, he has to go first, and he has to be at the bottom and sit everybody else trying to take him down. And he couldn't do an easy run. He was like, I know I'm leading, but I can't just do the victory run. I got to do my hardest, because there's going to be 10 guys or 9 guys after me trying to take me down.
Right.
And I don't know why we're not having that here.
Yeah. Ooh, the drama.
Yeah, but it's like, now it's like,
yeah,
it's just easy for them to like, you can like, for him, if Scotty was leading, he had to like ride to the fullest to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would set, I think, too, at that point, like such a high standard.
Oh, yeah.
But Raibu Katayama sitting in 4th place right now.
So how does he treat it, you think? We know he wants to win.
I think you boost. I think you go for it. I think you put down your best run. He has said that he wants to win the U.S. Open. So
such a great soundbite.
I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to try to dethrone Scotty James here in semifinals and try to be the last rider to drop in finals.
I love how just like, I've been dreaming of this since I was a little kid being here, and 2nd place was cool, but like,
win
the U.S. Open.
Yeah. Yeah, the win has.
See the win on this bid? That's not good. It's going to slow him down.
Yeah, and you got to factor that in. I mean, when you're boosting 16, 18 feet out of a 22-foot tall super pipe, you do not want to have a wind factor. Cab double cork 1080 into the front side 900.
So really similar line to what he did on the first round, except for the 1260.
How was that pop on the last wall?
It's arguable that his last hit was his biggest. That was crazy.
Yeah, first run he did the frontside double cork 10 on that. There he added a 1260. Everything else up top was the same as his first run.
Frontside 1080. Gets it all the way around, takes all that speed into his next wall, cab double cork 10.
What's a mute stalefish?
Not quite sure what that is.
Great question.
And there's that backside 900.
And that sets himself up for this last trick where he goes for the 1260, comes around, lands it. This is where he did the frontside double cork 10.
I think he should have done a hand plant at the bottom there. Another, even if it wouldn't be like a big trick.
One more hit?
Yeah, why not?
What's official? Terry Hawkinson wants you to ride the entire half pipe.
All of it.
I like it.
All
even a slash will like count.
All 600 feet. They built it that long for a reason.
Every bit of transition.
And when you don't have the hip entrance too, you lose a lot of the walls at the top.
Oh, Yuto Tatsuka. What is he going to do?
Yeah, Yuto is the final rider to shake up that top 10.
Yep.
Because after him is Scotty James. Scotty's currently in first. So Yuto, he could make Scotty work for the money today.
You know, and Yuto's finished second next to Scotty in so many events this year. Not that this is the finals, but...
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Yuto's going to send it right here.
And for the field, like, as much as Scotty James is a really likable dude, after he's won 5 events in a row, I'm sure the whole field is like, let's get this dude.
Let's get him, yeah. Let's dethrone the king.
Well, he is riding like that's exactly what he wants to do.
And he added that 1260 at the bottom hit.
And this just speaks to like that elite level in the field, the Yutos, the Scotty James. Like you said earlier, Tina, they're still sitting on tricks. They're pulling out tricks for run 2 of the semifinals to kind of jockey that top 3 around.
Yeah, these top guys, they're not riding 100% right now.
And they do keep that level of secrecy. They always have 1 or 2 tricks that other people may not know about, and they're just waiting for the right time to unveil them.
Pretty funny names. Was that a frontside still Indy they called it? It's not important, but it's funny.
Does that take out Pat Berger? Does this run take out Pat B?
It might. What's Pat Bergener's second run score there? 8.6.
Ooh, it does more than that. It does more than that.
That is a gigantic score.
More than that. I told you that they were chasing him all the way down, and just like that, we got a new leader.
Wow.
You know, Yuto's been fighting for this all year. I've seen him finish second next to Scotty, and he's not happy with that.
It's only qualification, okay?
I know.
Calm down.
Totally.
No, but still.
Still exciting though. It's still, I love the fact that they're like, we're not going to let you just slide in. And there is something nice about being the #1 qualifier.
Absolutely. So now you're Scotty James. Are you chilling on second place, or are you trying to regain that top spot?
Terrier?
Well,
because it's only the semifinal.
We're all different, so I don't know. Like I remember, like starting last was not always the benefit. You know, you might get more nervous, and you have to watch everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Scotty is a tried and true competitor, though. I think he wants that #1 spot.
I think he's going to try and get that #1.
Well, let's hope so we can get some entertainment going here.
So starting things out with that switch. Double cork back 10 into the backside 900.
Oh, man, that was big.
Frontside 1080. Scotty James is just pure power in the half pipe. And the frontside double cork 12. Huge. So back-to-back KO punches from Yuto and Scotty James.
Yeah, what do you call that first trick here we're doing?
The switch?
The switch.
The switch back 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of guys do that, huh?
Yeah, I think he's the only guy doing it.
Pat does it.
Pat Bergener?
Yeah, but last year Scotty was doing the switch backside 1260.
Right.
He's changed up his line a little bit this year.
Did you see how he missed the grab and then he re-grabbed it?
Yeah.
I was just about to say, for me, execution-wise, Tatsuka, he was all those grabs were just...
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this lands.
A little bit off on that landing.
I don't think it's going to take out Tatsuka.
So Scotty's first run score,
amazing run,
is 87.24, and right now Yuto Tatsuka has an 89.37. So Scotty needs to get into the 90s.
I don't think it's going to do it.
Scotty James answering back. I'm going to say that was more difficult. I think this is going to be a higher score than Scotty's first run.
Ooh, 66.3 out of 75. That is a
well, Sal, maybe you shouldn't open your mouth.
89.1.
Or you should.
Wow.
Not
okay.
enough.
0.2 difference.
I don't know about you, but I saw disappointment in his face, like he wanted that #1 qualifier spot. And I think that if you're going to have a chance to beat him, try and get in his head early. This dude is undefeated all season.
Absolutely. Wow.
So if I'm Totsuka, mission accomplished.
Danny Davis gets in there with that 10th place finish.
Yeah, and then you see some of the names like Chase Josie, Ben Ferguson, not up in that top 10. That is quite a surprise. And then some of the newer names didn't make it up into that top 10, but great showings from them. It's always awesome to come to the US Open and see that next generation of halfpipe and slopestyle rider that you're going to be seeing for years to come.
Yeah, the 12 and 13-year-olds dropping in and really setting the tone for today's event.
Yeah.
The semifinals, especially those last few runs, were, I think, just an indication of what we're going to see tomorrow or in the finals in 2 days.
I'm exhausted. Pleasantly such.
Sal needs to rest.
Yeah. 192 runs of snowboarding we've had in the last 2 days. And one of the big ones, of course, that we didn't see coming, Yuto Totsuka saying, I will not be chill on my last run. He is with Louis.
So, Yuto, you qualify in first place with that second run. How do you feel?
So very fun, and so happy for first place. Yeah.
So good, man. It was amazing to watch. Are you have a different run for finals?
Yeah, I will do my best for final. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we can't wait to watch. I know you have bigger tricks, so it's going to be exciting going down on Saturday. So good luck and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. And we are going to have, because this is such a massive international field and obviously giant audiences in Japan, there will be a full Japanese broadcast for slopestyle finals and halfpipe finals available on Red Bull TV for our Japanese audience.
Very cool.
Oh, that's great.
And, he wasn't able to express himself in the way that he wanted to. He was like, I'm very happy about first place.
He said, I had fun. That was his first response.
Yeah,
I had fun today.
Clearly having the most fun. Let's take a look at our top 3 qualifiers, starting with Pat Bergener.
Yeah, this was incredible. I mean, he was sitting in 8th place at the time. And, we were like, I think Pat's going to go for it. And check this out. The only guy in the world doing that trick right now, the burger flip.
And then just right there does a switch backside 5. He also does a switch backside 9 or 1080 there.
Yeah, this was an insane run from Pat Bergener. It's almost like he took the volume button and just cranked it for his second run. He knew he had nothing to lose. He was pretty safe in that 8th place spot. But he just threw down a hammer run. Jumped all the way up. That put him in second until Yuto Totsuka dropped in. And here is Scotty James on his second run. This scored him an 89.1, 2/10 of a point.
A switch backside 1080 to start things off with. The very first hit.
That is a ridiculous combo.
To your point about, you like to see risk. That's risk. That's right off the bat.
A lot of risk.
But then, Tina, you mentioned he can up that.
Oh,
he
yeah.
can take that to switch back 12
and then
for the finals.
Yeah, and he can also add, he was going to the 1080 to the back 9. He could take that to a 12.
Yeah.
Listen, you're talking a lot of 12 and numbers and whatever, but you have to remember the amplitude and the style, how you do all these numbers is really important,
And Scotty will.
Yeah, and then this kid right here, Yuto Totsuka, putting down the highest scoring run of the day and letting Scotty James know he's not going to go quietly into that good night.
No matter how critical the trick was, the grabs were held and boned out for all the way through.
It's like T just said, amplitude and style.
And that was I think that was the real difference maker.
Yeah.
Well, and now here's the question I'm going to pose. Knowing what we know about Scotty James and the finals run that he has, and seeing what Yuto Totsuka did today, and being a little less familiar with what he's going to throw down on finals day, is Scotty James still the favorite going into Saturday?
He's definitely not off the chart. Of course he's a favorite.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hasn't lost
the way he's been riding the 2 last years and the tricks we know he has, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. 5 for 5.
Even if he was 6 today, he would be the favorite.
Yeah, the favorite until he doesn't win. But I like that he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming in, as opposed to like just the ease, and that's going to obviously up the drama.
You know, and he has tomorrow to kind of take a day off as well and sort of reset for that final.
Well, and the other thing to mention about Scotty too is he's a physically strong rider, but he's also mentally strong. I feel like that's where he's gained the most ground, because he's always gone this big. He's always had the tricks, but it's the mental toughness that he's really focused on the last 3-4 years, and I think that's what's made him such a threat.
Mr. Hawkinson, it has been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun to be here listening to you, Tina. I learned a lot from you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all we do is just sit here and learn from Tina every day, all day. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us. Remember to stay social, communicate with us. You can do so at Red Bull Snow, at Burton Snowboards. The hashtag is Burton US Open. Continue to tune in with us for the next 2 days, and especially if you watch on Facebook via Red Bull. And Burton, you can actually communicate, ask questions, let us know how you're feeling, where you're watching from, etc.
I know.
192 runs of snowboarding, and we're just getting started. And if you love winter sports in general, well, as you already know, Red Bull TV is the perfect place for you. Download the Red Bull app for free and discover plenty of exciting films, shows. You can log in, you can save your favorite content, and you can watch those offline. Just download it already. You'll be happy and be a part of the Red Bull experience. We will be back tomorrow to play on the slopestyle course. I ran into Red Gerard earlier at lunch, taking laps through the course, feeling pretty happy as our #1 qualifier. It's going to be fun to see what that event yields tomorrow.
Yeah, there was an insane top 10 in slopestyle. I mean, seeing names like Luke Winkleman, Lion Farrell, Brock Crouch, it does feel like it's not a changing of the guard, but it's an introduction to the new generation of
and the women's field really set that standard.
Yeah.
With someone like Zoe Sadowski-Sanat having to figure out that new feature, the transition feature. And then we've got in the men's Mark McMorris, who's won twice and then didn't win, and then he's won twice again, but has never done the 3 times. He's never done the 3-peat.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure he wants that.
Yeah, he said in that piece that it is something that he wants, that it means something to him, actually, to get the 3-peat. And it sounds like from everyone that we've spoken to that's a multiple winner here, that it never gets old, the opportunity to win a U.S. Open. Like, just because you've won one before, that you're like, oh, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it gets better, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, you can win early goings, but then you can come back and win again.
Right.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, this is the one that cements your names in the books of snowboarding forever. Thank you guys for hanging out, Terry. Thank you, seriously, for hanging out. And just doing nothing but tell the truth, like you always do.
It was great having you here. It was great.
Thank you.
And we will see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for the women's final. On behalf of our entire crew here at Red Bull TV, thanks for watching.